ancient, hidden, forgotten. This is Harbor Town. This is Harbor Town.
See, I got my sound on my laptop now, and
Harbor Town is an all-new series from Miniature Building Authority, the leader in tabletop gaming scenery. Unique, flexible, and playable, Harbor Town will take your games to a new destination.
some kind of scratch on my reading glasses.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah, it's really annoying. Yeah.
There's Gary. There's Mark. Man, I'm glad I caught that the last second. I would have hated to have started this and the front thing would be wrong. That would have been a pain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I caught. Yeah, it just would have been a major pain. Good evening, everyone. Hit the right button, Jay. Nah, I'm not a Roman numeral guy there, Katana. You know, so I leave that to the Super Bowl. Thanks, Rox. Thank you so very much. Puppet, what's up, man? Did you have fun? Did you play in Carlos's game? I think that would be. Was that's you, right? I'm losing track of time, man. I had a rough day today. As far as work goes and other things.
Yeah, Carlos was just doing a.
Oh, it wasn't you, it was JC. I'm sorry, Puppet, it was JC. JC played, I'm sorry. It was JC Lux.
Yeah. He was just starting up a new game on Monday.
Yeah, cool. Yep. For all you Tim fans out there, we have a game. So, Saturday, May 30th. Jay needs a phylactery of, I need more J's. I need like a mirror image spell where the images are real. No, and I'm not cloning myself. I don't want to go insane. Because look, Tim cloned himself. Look what happened.
Yeah, there is a real chance when you use the clone spell.
This is on that crazy train. Hey, what's up, Greg? How you, man? Surprised Casey hasn't typed exclamation point drawing yet. He'll be fine. Tomorrow night's Reaper, guys. Reaper giveaway tomorrow night. Stratagem will be next week. Haven't gotten the Stratagem stuff in. Here comes Mike. He's probably been sitting there forever, and I just didn't even realize it. What's up, Mike? Because I'm not doing my job properly here by hitting buttons.
Yeah, Mike.
There you go. Yes, Anna is good for taking Mr. Ron Lundine's place. It's 50th show, guys. You know what that means tonight?
Yeah.
149. No, plus we are. I know Mike might not like it, but because we're gonna do a no time limit tonight. So if people want to go late, we'll go late. Just
Some
to
people go over.
to celebrate the 50th. Yeah, we don't have to go all night, but we'll go longer.
Yep.
Lucky 50th show. That's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Mike, I downloaded all the. I'm downloading all the old episodes from the old channel too. So yeah,
Awesome.
saving them for posterity.
Do you have them on YouTube?
They're on YouTube. Yeah, I'm downloading them too. So we have a copy just in case. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Artifacts. Good idea, Jason. Who came up with this?
This
Really?
is like idea to
Mike, I'm not sure if you know, Joe Block's coming on the Gavin Sunday night. It'll be fun.
Awesome.
Maybe that'll be how long we do a virtual Greyhawk Con, because we've decided that we're going with the name and things be damned. So Anna's theory is the best of all. Bad attention is sometimes worth it.
Sometimes, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so, let's just... Thank you, Seeker. Thank you for hosting too, Skag. I'll pop them up in the scroller and the thing in a second. All right, it's not 7:58. It's 2 minutes early. I scoured the internet for pics of as many artifacts as I could find, and there were a lot of them done, actually, which was pretty surprising. So I got a lot of them. It's a cool thing. Dun 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 dun. Good evening, everyone. How are you? 50th Legends and Lore, guys. Wow.
Hey.
Yep.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be proud, probably, of the last 20. There was 30 before that.
Yeah, definitely.
29 or 30 before that. So,
Yep.
Congrats, Mike and Anna, to that. That's an accomplishment to get to the 50th show. It's exciting. I'm Jay Killer Kazumba, and I got Jason Zavoda, Anna Meyer, and Mike Bridges. Mike Bridges with me to celebrate this 50th Legends of Lore with Jason's idea to discuss artifacts of Greyhawk. I think it's great. So, Mike, I know you do a lot of Greyhawkery posts. I know you've done a lot with. I found when I was searching for pics and Sword of Cost came up, I pulled it right from Greyhawkery. So you've done a lot of discussion on this over the years, haven't you? Sometimes, right?
Yes, those kind of articles. I like those kind of articles because you can draw from a lot of different sources and compare them.
That's awesome. That's great.
And I'm kind of I got halfway through doing a Eye of Vecna article like that, but never finished it.
Oh man,
well, that's a big one.
But do you have it partially? It's another, I know. I mean, you've been reliving the borders. There's always stuff that we can all go back to. It's kind of like Gary with Spine Castle. We'll go back to it eventually, right?
Yeah.
Just a joke, Gary. So that's cool. Glad to see.
Right.
Glad to see that that's a possibility. So Jason, how many did you come up with roughly? And then you said, I can't do this. 500?
It's in the hundreds. It's in the hundreds. I mean,
Okay.
I had 579 items listed in the index, but that covers a whole bunch of.
Oh, there we go. We don't know. We got a new version. So
Yep.
anything magic item.
Yeah.
The internet is kind of weird tonight. So yeah.
Yeah, and also Twitch is updated. If you don't know, Twitch is updated to a new version, especially with new encryption. So we don't know what that's going to do to certain bandwidths. Who knows? We'll find out. Go ahead, Jason.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm in and out tonight.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm in and out tonight. That's my third time.
It's a little choppy on my end.
It's choppy. Yeah,
It's choppy here too.
I'm coming
so
out
it's kind of-
choppy.
everything is kind of.
I'm looking to see. I have no.
Yeah.
All right, so it's not on my. This could be a Zoom major problem now with Zoom doing this update, and it's messed up. So bear with us, please.
Oh man.
Yeah, seems to be a kind of a.
Let me see if there's something I can do on my end. Great, of course they did this now, right? So, jeez, I don't know if there's anything I can do on my end here. Let me just see.
I've got everything shut down, but
okay.
Sorry about that.
It's not you.
Yeah.
Only Jason sounds choppy to you. Yeah, but it looks like Anna is almost frozen and Mike is frozen. Anna's completely frozen. Yeah, something's going on there, and my settings, I'm clean. I don't have any chop in the internet or at all. I got no doubt.
Yeah, I can still hear you. So
yeah, so we're gonna do.
Yeah, the audio is fine.
Yeah, the audio is fine. It's the video here. Let me see if I can pop this down. I'm gonna turn it down. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn it down to. I'm going to go down to non-HD on the vid and see if that helps.
Yeah, that might help a little bit.
Yeah, and just see, and try to figure this out, guys. You know, typical. Yeah, exactly, Josh. Typical. How's that? Is that a little better?
Stream since the Zoom update.
They just did it today. I just got it. Yesterday. They did it yesterday.
Okay.
They did it yesterday.
I can hear you perfectly. So.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You.
Okay.
When Mike.
Well, I was
just
saying that.
So far, but I can hear. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jason.
Okay. I was just saying that when I was trying to do the list, I'm just out of it this week, but I was trying to do the list, and it's hundreds of items.
Don't know, guys. Anna's lagging out too.
It's just a little too much for put together a list.
Here's the weird thing. Anna and I were on all day. I mean, for a while, there was no issues whatsoever. So I'm thinking that there's something going on.
It worked perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's weird.
This is what I'm going to do. I wonder if we can do it right in the middle of the show. Shut the Zoom off and turn it back on.
Yeah, we can try.
We're going to try that as we're talking here. 1 sec. Whoop. All right, I'm going to try this, guys. Never been done before during the live stream. Hopefully, let's just see what happens here. Boom, 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 and see if we can figure out what's going on here. Yeah, what a bite there. All right, we're back. I got this back up, and let's see what happens here. Yeah, what could go wrong? What possibly could go wrong? So let me just type this in here. Okay, so all sorts of weird stuff tonight, guys, going on. So hopefully we can. Yep. All right. I'm waiting for people to log back on. Maybe they're rebooting. I'm hoping that we can get to this without a lot of trouble, or figure out, or I may be looking for a new video conferencing software. You know what I'm saying? So here comes Anna. So let's see what happens here. How are you? How are you now? You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, seems to work now. Yep.
All right, it's
Now
working
you're
good
up
now.
and looks good. Yep, looks
Okay,
good so far.
let's see
Yep.
about Jason.
Exactly. We are kind of challenging the high and
gods.
mighty, talking about artifacts and stuff. Yeah, now you all look good. Yeah.
Everyone looking pretty good?
Yep. Looks good.
Everything's looking good. How am I sounding?
Oh, sounds great. Yep.
Okay. All right, maybe we just had a
All
bad connection there.
Yeah.
All right, good. Mike,
So
you
are we live?
okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Now it works. Yep.
Now it works. Okay. So Anna, what's your first memory of an artifact that you used or you heard about in
The
Dungeons?
first one we used was back when we played, before I ran my own Greyhawk campaigns. We played T1 to 4, and we used that kind of orb of gold or evil or whatever it was called in the Temple of Elemental Evil, with the little things you should put in that skull. That was my first memory of something that was maybe not an artifact, but at least a major magic item that had kind of devastating powers and stuff. That was the first one that I'm aware of that I came in contact with in D&D.
What year was that?
That must have been like 82 or something like
Oh,
that.
so that's right in the beginning.
Yeah,
right in the
something like
beginning.
that. Yeah.
That's cool. Mike, do you remember what your first one was?
Yeah, that's a tough one because, like, I had the 1E Demon's Guide
Mhm.
from like the beginning. So, for all I know, when I'm, 5th grade, Mike was probably had characters running around with, the Sword of Kos, and we're sitting on the throne of the gods and all that stuff.
Yes.
God knows.
I'm trying to think what artifact I had first. Jason, you remember what you used or?
Yeah, well, when I started playing,
Jason's still having the issues.
Well, that might happen. Yep.
Boing! Oh my
Yep.
gosh!
Wand of Orcus. That
The
is one
Wand
item
of
I've
Orcus. There you
never
go.
used. Never used it.
Never
No,
used
I
it.
never used that either.
we were doing. I'm sorry, I
No, it's okay.
toned out again. We
Yep.
were doing the GDQ series, and by that time I was running the game for the D series, and Ian, just as we were getting into the Demon Web pits, I think I tossed them a rod of lordly might that they didn't know really how to use it though.
Okay. Yeah, that's.
I might have a more accurate answer now.
Go for it.
Because I was really into mythology before I knew D&D. One of the first magic items I think we picked up on for general use was Excalibur.
Oh yes.
Which was in the D's and Demigods.
Yes. Well, it was, and also if you in the D's and Demigods, that's a great point. King Arthur's shield. It said it was a gold dragon. Now a lot of people said, "Well, is that a real gold dragon just on his shield, embedded into his shield?" It says, and you didn't know. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Excalibur. That's cool.
Yeah,
Remember
it got ported to Greyhawk in my.
and also Mournblade, right, from Melnibone too. And there was a couple other ones in that book as well. So
Greyhawk has enough soul-stealing swords.
Yeah, like Black Razor. Yeah.
Enough, and we're going to talk about that one tonight. So what I did was I compiled as many as I could with pictures from the old publications and some modules. Stormbringer, that's it, Bill. Yeah, absolutely. And there's all sorts of ones I just couldn't even get to. There's just so many. And if you add this book and you add Rick Miller's Duakarthan's 3rd edition update of that, you have a ton more. Now, I don't know, a lot of them are not artifact level in here, but some of them are. I mean, there's a fire one. Go ahead, Jason.
That artifact level thing was, I mean, we're all looking at the DMG1 where the artifact level was where you had all those blank spaces for adding the powers, I mean, it's really hard to say if you want to have an artifact as something super powerful or just something that is, beyond the regular magic item. There's such a there's such a diversity there in the power level differences between just something that's a little extraordinarily powerful and something that is like, the machine of Lum the Mad. It just gets, or the hand and eye of Vecna. It gets into real, really big differences there. I wouldn't say that every artifact has to be super powerful.
No, that's true. That's true. Whatever stats for the artifact and artifact of evil, which one, Josh? I mean, there's stats for a lot of these artifacts, and going back to the beginning. And
Talking about the novels.
the novel.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know.
But there are in this book, Book of Vile Darkness, there are the regalia of evil. They match very well to the items that are described in the Gord books.
Huh.
And there's also in this book, there is the regalia of good. They're not mentioned in Gary's the Gord books. And there's somewhere there's a regalia of neutrality, and I think that one is in the Arms and Equipment Guide from 3.5.
Nice.
Well,
And in my opinion, these two books are highly underrated. There are a lot of awesome stuff in it, and the Regalia of Evil is one of them that matches fairly well with the Gygax descriptions and stuff from the Gord books.
See, your Book of Vile Darkness still has the content warning sticker on it.
Oh yes, yeah, I want that. That's kind of the seal of approval that the content is
But
beefy
didn't
enough
the
to,
good book have one also?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
No, I don't think so. Yeah, and it was kind of funny. I kept it simply because it was kind of cool. That's the
Never got
only
that
book
one.
I've seen in Sweden that actually had this sticker. They didn't, and that's because
Wow.
we removed them when they were sold in the store, but I kept mine because I thought it was cool. So yeah.
Does are those 3.0 or 3.5 books?
Yep. Yeah, the 3.5. Yep. See?
Oh, okay.
Yep. And they're available at Drive-Through RPG in PDF form. I just bought them before here because I realized that I want them to be able to read them so I can copy and put them in my notes from the books.
There's a lot. I mean, there's so many. Where to start? We might as well. Why don't we just start back at the beginning?
Go back just. We take that later. Please continue. Yeah.
Oh no, it's okay. I was just saying that the beginning. There are some like if you go back to the very, and I got my notes here. Gary, thank you for this recommendation too. Said go back to before the Dungeon Master's Guide, and I found something out really really interesting. So if we go take a look at the original one that Jason and I were like, wow, there's so many classic ones in there. We got pictures. I found pictures for a lot of them, so I just went by it. Here, let me just.
Eldritch Wizardry.
That's it. So you have the original Dungeon Master's Guide. Here is where we're going to refer from a lot. Gary said go back to the Eldritch Wizardry book.
Oh yeah.
So I did, and almost every single artifact that's in the everyone that's in the Eldritch Wizardry book is in the Dungeon Master's Guide, but not the other way around. But most of them are here. And there's a weird thing in here, and now it explains a lot. You remember in the Dungeon Master's Guide, they didn't have any abilities for anything in the artifacts? Well, in the Eldritch Wizardry book, they have all these column tables. See, like the Mace of St. Cuthbert? And it says, use table 1A, 1B, 1C. Oh. And then it goes to these 5 tables. The artifact and relics tables, right? It goes to all these tables, table 1. So basically,
those tables in the DMG as well.
They cut and pasted them in. Yeah, I think it looks like an exact copy over in the Dungeon Master's Guide because it's so much. They said we're not going to make abilities for all these. So
if you're the thing about the artifacts and the DMG is they're such filled with lore for Greyhawk. Like so many of the names and that they're all part of our Greyhawk lore, that if you think about it, that here you have the Eldritch Wizardry, which predates the folio, that there you see where they were getting they were developing the campaign ideas, right with Eldritch Wizardry. And, I can't remember if there are any artifacts in Greyhawk, the supplement, or Blackmore, but I do know Blackmore had the Temple of the Frog, I think, Arneson's, which is very science fiction-y. So there might be some kind of artifacts in there, but I can't remember offhand.
I'm not sure. I was like, I got pulled in 30 different directions because I started remembering stuff that was in modules. I'm like, I got to include that. I got to include that, and I missed. I missed some. Temple of Evil. I missed a couple. I just was like, I'm trying to. There's so many everywhere that let's get this one over with too, because I don't want to hear about any vampiric thrommels the rest of the night. So let's get this out of the way. Okay, so you have Fragarak. Did I pronounce it correctly? One of the final final word broadswords, which magically got changed to some other kind of sword in future editions. I think it was Bastard or something, but they used to be broadswords. It's in Temple of Elemental Evil, and it's there's one for each alignment. It doesn't really state the alignments. We assume that this one is lawful good, and at the end of Temple of Elemental Evil, he gives it to you're supposed to give it to one of the player characters for rescuing him as a gift, and that happens in our campaign. And I did not notice when I was searching, Fragarak is the name of Manannan MacLear's weapon in Celtic mythos. I did not, yeah. So when I was doing a little research, I was like, so they ripped that off, which is okay, but that's where it comes from Celtic lore. Good, Mike.
See, at that point, I'm surprised we don't have Mjolnir or something in Greyhawk.
Well, it was mentioned in Deities and Demigods for Thor, so yeah. But it's kind of cool. Yeah,
there is a lot of Greek references, though.
Yes, you're talking about that.
And Temple of Elemental Evil ends roughly, Phantom, right around that. Fragarak was taken from an alien god by Kellenin. I don't know what that means, Casey. It has to be Living Greyhawk. It has to, guys. If I told you what's going on behind the scenes after Saturday night, your head would explode. I told Anna a little bit. I shared some of the Discord messages that I'm getting from the Living Greyhawk people. My God, they're all paranoid. I thought my players were crazy. It's fun, but it's insane. So Jason, nope, canon. Canon Zavada Index. Fragarak was taken from an alien god by Kellenin. Okay, it's very possible, man. That's canon. Okay. So, but there's so many other different things. I missed the crystal. I missed the orbit, the crystal skull of Iaz, and
there's so many, Jay. I mean, like I said, there's hundreds. There's an unbelievable amount of things between artifacts and named items that just we could go on for a week.
I just threw out some Fragarak lore for everybody.
Known as the answer to sword from Celtic legend, was dropped into Greyhawk lore by Gygax as ties to Prince Thrommel Kellenin and has been copied several times. Okay, there you go. So, no mention of an alien, though. I don't know. Casey, I'll take your word for it, because
in this case,
anything is possible.
Is not of Orth, so they're probably talking about Manannan MacLear.
So Manannan MacLear stole it from Kellenin, is what you're saying?
No, I'm saying vice versa.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, Kellenin stole it from Manannan MacLear, and that's how he has the name Fragarak. Okay. That makes sense then, in a bizarre sort of way, right?
Well, Kellenin cannot be beaten by a sword, so if he went up against whoever wielded that weapon, he would easily take it.
Okay. All right.
That's his deal.
All right. Very possible. So he's going around. He's going around and working on the going
And then he
after other
conquered.
weapons. I know he collects them. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. What was that Sea Princess sword related to some god in one of the modules? What was that Sea Princess sword related to some god in one of the modules? I don't know that.
No, I'm unfamiliar.
Huh.
Yeah. Oh, here
Don't
we have a. Oh, that was they're
that one I
passing
don't
by a
know.
lot of cool.
I don't know that one either. So okay.
Sea Princess are related to some guy.
So
Not,
I have one other final word sword in the campaign. Did Mike? Mike, Jason, did you ever use any of them?
no.
No.
No, you know, my big thing with artifacts is I tended to use the bigger stuff was like I used even for low level people because they were such big events that things happened around those kind of artifacts. I didn't need to have like a super high level game, but the swords themselves, they tended to be a lot of these things sort of cast that they tended to be very high level kind of items.
Yeah.
My friends were always wanting Vorpal swords and swords of sharpnesses and stuff, so why give them something better than that?
I always like stuff with special abilities, right?
Yeah.
So, I always liked things that were a little different and some special spell effects. A Vorpal sword is super powerful and over in the game, and you give too many of them out, and you're just not going to have anyone walking around with a head anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a tough one. I would say that it's more important, I think, to get some flavor, and that's why I like a lot of there's semi artifacts all throughout Greyhawk. There's named items all over the place, which is so cool, and that's where I was going. Lord Page has Backtalker. Now, whether Backtalker is the character neutral sword or not, I don't know because it doesn't say in the Art Arcana. It just lists them all. Sounds good to me. That sounds like a Backtalker. Sounds like a character neutral name. So, I don't know if it is, but I like that weapon. The weapon doesn't really do that much other than anyone who attacks you, you automatically hit
So is
once.
it really an artifact then?
It's an artifact.
Or is it just a copy of an artifact?
That's a good question. It's a good question. There's different levels of artifacts, but I had to get it out of the way so I didn't have to hear the Thrommel vampire thing all night. So that's why I got through that one first. So how about we all pick one and we just start discussing some old ones, and I'll flip to them. I know you won't let go of it, Josh. I know, because that's just the kind of guy you are. So it's all good. Why don't you start off, Mike? Since this is your topic, man. You like this, and then we'll go to Jason.
Me?
And then, yeah, sure. Pick one.
Yeah.
Pick. What do you like?
Okay. Yeah. Actually, one of my favorite artifacts that I've used extensively, I would consider the Baba Yaga's hut.
That's awesome.
I
we're just talking about that.
If you could put a time, like screen time, like how much I've used an artifact, that one beats all.
Is it because it's an extra dimensional space?
Yes.
Okay.
And I've used it in at least 3 or 4 editions of D&D.
Wow.
And it's an adventure in itself. Going around and it's and it's one of them, and it's one of them artifacts. It's like a deck of many things. Here you go, Baba Yaga's hut. Have fun.
Did you run the Dragon Magazine Baba Yaga's hut or the module of the Baba Yaga's hut that came out later? Both.
That's what I'm saying. And then I updated it on my own in 3rd edition.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's such an interesting one because Baba Yaga is she's a Russian Slavic version of Louis from the Finnish Kavala, who is Igvil. Louis is the basis that Gygax used for Igvil.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And so in my campaign, Igvil is Baba Yaga, and she's one of the spot is the big chicken-legged house there. Her hut is this little simple hut, but it can rise itself up on these chicken legs.
Huh.
And she is the witch of the woods. And like in my campaign, Igville is such a powerful foe. So to the people over in
Oh,
Yep. There, he went
hold,
past his
hold
limit.
that
Yep.
thought. But my answer to that is, I think it was in the Dragon Magazine adventure. It said
Yes.
something about picking up children and training them, girls to be evil witches, and I took that as Baba Yaga is a multiversal character who just stopped off in Orth briefly and trained our
Yeah.
good friend Eagle.
And
Yes,
speaking of
like
Oblivion,
in that.
sorry.
There he is.
Oh, I'm sorry. In the module that there's a published module and then there's a Dragon Magazine
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
module. I can't remember which one, but it has a T-32 World War II Russian tank in there.
That's the Pathfinder version that Seeker of Oblivion mentions. That the Pathfinder had an adventure path that I forgot the name that uses.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Baba
that's
Yaga.
I have that one. I don't have many, but I have that one.
And then
But
they end
one
up
of
in Russia in like World War I or something
That's
like that.
great.
I think. Yeah.
I
Easter
think
egg.
the Dragon Magazine one has the tank as well.
Yeah.
Then he's probably must be World War II, because I don't think the Russians used much tanks in World War I. So yeah.
No, World War II.
Yeah, too.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Very interesting. It always goes bad or wrong when you do that technological thing.
Yeah,
Because
I
like
don't
they
like
try
it.
and
Yeah.
bring, some smart ass is going to try and bring back the tank into Greyhawk, right? And we're gonna have Wizards the movie all over again, right?
Yeah. Yep.
With
I
cannons
always stayed away even from the barrier peaks when no
Yeah.
spaceships and nothing like that.
Yeah.
Not even gunpowder. Yep. Yeah.
if it was a World War II, if it was a T-32, it's got to be World War II.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, there was an aircraft carrier, absolutely. Keep tech out of Greyhawk. So
Yes. Yep. I
Oh,
totally
you
agree.
guys are
Sorry,
no
Gary.
fun. I have I have lots of tech in my Greyhawk.
I don't have any. No gunpowder, no tech. Period.
I'm
No
bad.
gunpowder.
No gunpowder, no tech. Period. Yep.
I can agree on the no gunpowder, but I like the futuristic blasters and androids and stuff. I use a lot of that.
Yeah.
and that's a fun one shot as long as you don't because once the power packs are gone, that stuff doesn't work anyway, right? Because you can't
Yeah.
recharge the
Well,
power
to
packs
me,
on
it's
that.
totally up to the DM and the players what they want
Yeah.
in their Greyhawk campaign. But I don't want it in my Greyhawk campaign. So yeah.
Kind of the
Yeah.
same as playing Gamma World.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
you know that DMG we're talking about, they tried meshing everything back then with the
Mhm.
Wild West.
Yep.
They had the everything thrown in,
Yeah.
the conversions for Gamma World to
Yep.
fantasy.
Mhm. Yep.
It's back then TSR was an experiment. A lot of things were being
Mhm.
experimented on, and that was
Mhm.
one of them. And hey, that there's nothing wrong at all with that. Having
No, it's up to
a little
everyone
boot
who
hill
wants.
here and a little
Yeah. Mhm.
here
Well,
and there.
that's
So
Merlin,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Or
All right,
wait,
so that's a real good one there, Mike.
Yeah, we'll come back to the technology thing because I have a segue on that on another.
Oh, cool, great,
relic. Sorry.
awesome.
But go on
But-
next.
but oh, I was
Yeah,
just going to say
Jason.
that
Yeah.
Baba Yaga's hut itself is an artifact,
That's where it started. Yeah.
and filled with other things that could be artifacts in there.
Yeah.
Maybe I should read. I've never played it.
That's what I'm saying. I have a list of artifacts here and that I've used, and Baba Yaga's hut
The most.
I've used more than all the rest of them combined.
I just picked up the Endless Quest, the little book, Choose the Path things, of Baba Yaga's hut, written by Moore. You
Oh.
know, he has a
Hey.
dwarf called Mjolnir in there.
Ah,
For a dwarf.
Nice.
so they got it in somewhere.
But but no, I could. Oh, I just love the Baba Yaga thing, and that, like I said, that's one of the few Pathfinder adventure paths that I have because I like that so much.
Patience, Gribbly, patience.
Yep, we get to the list.
Mike's gonna Mike. He's got a long list there.
They
so
all have lists.
we're gonna
so
get to all of them.
Let's get around. Yeah.
We're gonna get to all of them. Jason, all right, pick one for us.
Well, this should surprise no one with what I've been talking about, but the Machine of Lum the Mad
Yes.
is one of my absolute favorites, and it's going to feature profoundly in my upcoming campaign, which is a combination of Lieber, Lovecraft, and science fiction. And the machine is this cursed, devilish machine that is in. See, what I've done is I've taken those DMG1 choices where you decide what it does, and instead of just taking it by the table, I've just crafted whatever I saw fit. Because these artifacts, and maybe that's my definition of an artifact, is something that goes beyond the bounds of just being able to say it does this or it does that. It's a thing in itself, and it has the machine of Lum. It's more than its component parts. It is this such. I mean, in the campaign, the lore is that Baron Lum builds an empire just with this machine. So
but he doesn't make the machine. He found it.
Oh no,
right?
he finds it's a product of the gods, supposedly.
Yeah.
So
3. It's almost 3 tons, 5,500 pounds.
Oh yes, and incredibly fragile for an artifact. A good pound on it destroys several functions that can't be restored according to the DMG. And just what I'm trying to capture, I don't know if you're familiar with the Doctor Who episode where they're going through the sewers of London, and it's Tom Baker, the fourth Doctor.
I know which one you're talking about.
There is the booth of Weng Chiang.
Yeah, it's Talons of Weng Chiang.
And that is this time travel booth. And to me, I'm trying to capture that essence, that they got the feel for that in that episode, trying to get my players to get that feel, hopefully down the road, when they encounter the machine of Lum the Mad, that it will give them that feel of both having a grasp on the something that's science fictiony and yet something that's really just a big fantasy. And so the machine, I want to be this completely something that they have no idea how it really works. It just does stuff. And they have the lore of it, but they don't really understand the lore behind it. And there's this little booth you enter for the machine, and it is just I'm just trying to get the players so that they
I like the machine because it's one of them items you can't just like pick up and put in your pocket.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
This is a setting, much like Baba Yaga's pet. It's a setting.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. So, trivia question. There's the picture of it. Right there.
Where'd you get that?
I'm asking, does any audience, Anna knows, I already told her.
Oh, yeah.
Where is that picture from of the machine of Lum the Mad? Does anyone know? Yes, Landra's Baldur's Gate, the computer game. Good job.
Yep.
It is it's in Forgotten Realms.
All right.
Yes, it is in Baldur's Gate 2. Absolutely.
Yes,
so,
I've always said the best things in Forgotten Realm come from Greyhawk.
Yes, yeah. That's awesome, though. Yes, but I found a picture of it. I found a picture of the item. Okay, Anna, your turn.
Well, I have to take up one that I'm one of the few that I've used and that I don't like really. but I have to take it up anyway because Gary wrote a whole bunch of books about it, and that one we mentioned before, the Theor part, so the Folly of Evil or something, and it's one of these kind of iconic, just like the ring in Lord of the Rings, that kind of ultimate evil thing that if it comes and being used and assembled in one spot, the whole world goes to hell kind of artifact. That sounds like an awesome idea when you're 15, 16 years old and want to run your third adventure campaign. It sounds like, oh, this is the coolest idea ever, meaning save the world, otherwise it ends. Now I know better. So after running several years with screwing around with those artifacts, I realized that never again. So I promised myself never run an end of the world campaign. And now I'm going to run a kind of end of the world campaign in my next one, not the next one coming up, but the one after that. But I'm going to do it differently. So I can. It's both. They're both interesting, I think, both because Gary wrote a whole bunch of books about them where they were the main plot, and the other thing is that they're also tied to fantasy, meaning end of the world artifacts. Since Tolkien came up with the idea, seems to be kind of everywhere, or at least that there seems to be one of these MacGuffins that are kind of a standard item in a lot of fantasy stories. So Greyhawk has their kind of, thanks to Gary's long story of books, actually have that kind of end of the world artifacts, and what it is was basically the three, like lawful evil, neutral evil, and chaotic evil, each had their part in that one. And if you bring them all together and one person wields them, they get all the power of the netherworld. Basically, that's the basic premise of the whole idea, so to speak. I don't think they're really detailed in exactly what they can do, but the Gord books, that they were fighting, so there were numerous alliances and fighting each other, and the good ones and not so much the good ones. That's the other weird thing about those the Gord books. The good side is almost nowhere to be found. It's neutrality versus some sort of neutrality versus evil. And that's the other weird thing, is like the opposite of the evil should be the good side, but they are kind of not even mentioned. It's some sort of balance that realize that, okay, if the evil ones get all this together, they become too powerful. So then the neutrality comes up and bash them, so to speak. And to me, that's just weird. I love the good versus evil kind of, and the neutrality are the ones that don't.
But they don't go into detail.
No, not about the artifacts are these kind of weird things that are just there to as the backdrop. It's why the story happens. And then they kind of, different sides have them and steal them from each other and so on.
Okay.
So to me, it's kind of a weird backdrop that sounds in the beginning very like, oh, I want to run a campaign like that. And I did. And after running it, I don't want to do it again. Yeah.
Well, they were such a wonderful. I mean, do you remember Sea of Death? The one artifact is there at this city out of mind that is this capital of the Sul Imperium. And they bring back this fighter from the past, and from the distant past of the Sul Imperium, and he looks up and he sees the Theopar, and he has that, it's been encased in that crystal, and you realize that this is such a powerful item, that here it's not only the power of the Sul Imperium, but it's what protected this capital from the reign of colorless fire.
Yeah. And it's kind of those aspects become now more and more interesting, and that's what I wanted to come to. In the beginning, they were like, "Oh, I want to run it," and then it was like, "No, I never want to see them again." Now, the effects, the secondary effects, are what interests me. The kind of the power creep that comes from it, that they can affect the lands around them, and all these kind of secondary and effects that comes with them, so to speak. That is something that interests me more, like the political implications of them, and all that stuff that you can kind of play with, and they can kind of screw up whole countries and things. Those effects are the ones that I'm now interested in testing out the waters in future campaigns with stuff like that. So yeah, without actually going around wielding them as personal items and
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, see, there you have an artifact. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there you have something that, and of course, Gary through that book was able to instill such mystery. You didn't really know what it did.
No, and the I guess the closest you get to them is where the lords of the netherworld, the demon lords and princes and stuff, when they discuss and have their alliances, yell and scream at each other, and Ayus and Igvilv and so on, but they form alliances and are treacherous and stuff. That's where you get the kind of glimpse on their desperation to get them. But the items themselves are not detailed much. It's not like the ring in Lord of the Rings, where the ring is a personality of itself and do things in the story. I don't get that sense in Gary's the Gord books, that the Theor parts are not personalities per se. They are something that the evil side craves, that the good side doesn't seem to care about for some reason, which is weird to me. Yeah. That
I know
part
that.
is the weirdest part of the story, is that the good are not there. Where are Viluna? Where are the Furiundi? Where are all the other good sides? Meaning, where are they? If the
Yeah,
world is going to end, where are
where are all
they?
the gods? Yeah.
Exactly. They're nowhere. Meaning Cuthbert and they're nowhere to be seen. And that to me is the weird thing about it. Or the weirdest thing. Yeah.
Sometimes good just is too busy doing too many things, multitasking, right?
Yeah, it might
Ah,
be.
It
Yeah.
seems like it.
Yeah, neutrality are the ones that occasionally step up and tries to do something. And the Cat Lord is the main kind of
Xanye,
neutrality villain or
Xanye.
character on that.
Yeah.
Now I'm not going to spill too much of the plot in the books, because then you need to read them. And they, if you're interested in Greyhawk, they are a must read. I think it's not because it's not that they're bad that way at all. It's just they have some quirks, and some of you might love those quirks. And for me, it's kind of, some of them are difficult, but they are a fantastic road movie through Greyhawk and the other planes. And you get,
oh yes,
yeah,
yes.
so they're fantastic. So definitely get them and read them. Yep.
Well, Hannah, that was interesting. That was an interesting one,
That was
definitely.
my first kind of caveat, something I don't
Gary.
like that much.
That the Thea part is the artifact. I mean,
Yeah, in power level, I think it is. It's one of these end of the world artifacts. Yeah.
Yeah, so Gary says, yeah, we can revisit absolutely, and get to some more named items and call it like named items or something like that instead of artifacts with some of the lesser
Yeah.
ones. But
Yeah.
this is going to be a lot of fun. So,
Yeah.
all right, so mine comes right from the fundraiser we had in 2019. And we
Oh.
did it all based around one of the 8 items. And I think Ribley mentioned it was one of his favorites. Let me just get through here. And I have it made up for our campaign. There we go. One of the orbs of Dragonkind. This is the orb of the Elder Worm, and so we had all the stories about it. And I had it even better. I had a Miracle the Chaotic. He had gotten his hand on the orb of the Elder Worm, and I know Roger Moore did that article on them and put them all in detail beyond what's
Such a good
in
article.
what's in these dragon what's in the DMG. And that orb, I know that orb. All you gotta do is point at a dragon, and it's insta kill twice per day. Just disgusting. And some other really crazy powers, but it's at a huge cost. And so that is one that always needs to be hidden. It always gets hidden in the the Sea of Dust, and always gets recovered again. It seems like,
Mm.
but yeah, the Malachite throne is that one, and also there's the throne of the gods, which I don't know if anyone ever utilized it. That's got to come
Yeah.
from lore of some religion or maybe it's even Greek. The throne of the gods, which is in there too. So I love the orb stories. They're all they're all for controlling good dragons for the most part. Now or controlling evil dragons, but they're all evil items, and there's always some kind of negative effect on them. And some really serious. I think the one that you lose a hit point a day permanently. Well, you're not going to have it for very long, are you? So, uh, pretty cool stuff. But that would be the one for me. So, Mike, back up to you.
Okay. let's talk a minute about the Mesa St. Cuthbert.
Yes. There we go. There's St. Cuthbert with his mace.
Oh,
Right.
yes. Yeah.
So I don't remember why Cuthbert lost his mace and why players had to go recover it, but that was another Dragon Magazine adventure that came out probably around the same time as that Baba Yaga one. And I ran that. It's called City Beyond the Gate. All right. See where I'm going with this? And this also ties into Jason's thing about Doctor Who and going through London. Because the gate takes you to London.
Ah.
And there's a map of London. There's all these flow charts on how to use items and all this stuff. You would almost forget that you're there for the Mesa St. Cuthbert. It's such a involved adventure.
What time is it in London?
Oh, modern day, I thought.
Modern, yeah, modern.
Wow,
yeah.
okay. It's not like 1600s with Shakespeare or stuff, but it's modern. Okay.
Now, I'm guilty because I've ran that twice.
You liked it.
Yeah, the first time I ran it as is. They came back with the Mesa St. Cuthbert, came back with all the requisite guns and grenades and all that fun. Second time I ran it, instead of going after the Mesa St. Cuthbert, I sent my players. I kind of tweaked it. It wasn't going for the Mesa St. Cuthbert. It was going for a different item. And that one was more of a time travel thing, which I sent them to World War II London. And that's about all I'll go with that.
Okay. Well, it sounds almost like 12 Monkeys, right? A little bit there, sending time and trying to recapture things. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I hated that module.
Oh, yeah. And I would never use it again.
You burn it after using.
Yeah. But as for the Mesa St. Cuthbert itself, without that module, I wouldn't know how to use it. I mean, have your players stumble upon the Mesa St. Cuthbert. Well, wouldn't Cuthbert want to come and get his mace back? It's not like he won't come to Orth. So I never knew what to do with that.
It's kind of like a way to get your characters to interact with St. Cuthbert himself, right?
I guess so.
I mean, more of that. That's what I see that item as, and maybe for a great quest of purpose, he will lend it to you. Or some of a holy specialty priest to his. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, so you can't have Hieronymus' act. Sure, you can. You can have whatever you want. You can
I think the interesting thing was they were trying to tie Cuthbert into actual Earth version of Cuthbert, tie the two worlds. But I don't know if anything about whoever a real St. Cuthbert might have been in our reality, or if he used a mace. I don't know.
I think Tim's dad always said it was Saint Michael. It was one of those. It was one of those saints. Yeah. So he's referenced a lot in the Viking show on Netflix. Oh, okay. Did not Cuthbert keeps so yeah. Historical figure. Cuthbert, it may be a truly historical figure.
Well, he is, but he's nothing like Cuthbert of the Cudgel.
Okay.
A
lot of stuff. I mean, it's just like it's early on, and you take ideas from other places. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone, if you're not stealing, you're not trying, right? And normally, for the most part, we all have that. But cool. So you ran that twice. I've run adventures twice, but never to go back to London twice. So
yeah, I usually tweak things when I run a second time, like Greyhawk Ruins. I've ran twice.
Yeah.
First time cover to cover. Second time I had to tweak.
Okay. I knew an Irish nun who was definitely Sister Anne of the Cudgel, Belt and Stick. That's just wrong, man. So, yeah. All right. So, Jason, you're up.
All right. Well, let me continue. This is kind of a continuation of Lum the Mad. And, of course, it's the mighty servant of Lugo.
Yes.
And again, this towering figure who's not quite a golem. I mean, he's crystal and strange metals. And the big thing about him is he has he has he's an artifact, so he's got mysterious properties. So the way that I like to have him is that in a sense I'm running the machine of Lum the Mad as also a kind of Cthulhu-like device, and the mighty servant of Luco is another one. He's another thing. He ties in with my Mage of the Valley, the Valley of the Mage.
Oh, okay.
Because in my campaign that I'm doing, if you have ever seen the Outer Limits episode called "The Demon with the Glass Hand" with Robert Culp, that is my mage, and he is melded with the mighty servant of Luco in my campaign, and the two of them are twin spirits, and the servant of Luco, he.
Oh no.
Yep.
Isn't it amazing though? We restarted Zoom and now we have 0 issues. That's just wrong. So Gribbly, Tim has thrown around some Mordenkainen disjunctions in his campaign, but never around.
Sorry, I should know better than to talk for more than 10 seconds. but anyway, what I've tried to do is merge some of the Lovecraftian elements with the science fiction elements, and kind of like if you've seen the horror movie Event Horizon, that is a Lovecraftian science fiction, and the servant of Luco is a truly hellish creature, and he has this ability to cross through the plains of nightmare, and he is twinned in spirit with the Valley of the Mage in my campaign, who is also one of the possessor of the machine of Lum the Mad. That's how he maintains his valley's independence. So anyway, that mighty servant of Luco, he is a major figure in my upcoming campaign. I like to use him as a real artifact, something that isn't just a science fiction-y golem, but truly a horrific creature.
So, in your campaign, how have you had it like interact? Like how the party's seen it, or the party?
Oh, they haven't reached it yet. This is
okay.
The upcoming. These are future plans.
Okay, cool. It says the relic of a visiting race of space travelers. That's what it says in the Eldritch Sorcery reference. Is lowering automatic? So this one came from outer space too.
It
works well with my game.
Yes.
I've come so close to using the Mighty Servant, and just I don't know why I haven't, but I love that item.
Yeah. I'm just looking at it here, and interesting. I mean, when you read into stuff and you look at it, you're like, man, there's a lot of aliens in Greyhawk.
There are.
We just know Fragarach got taken by one, and the mighty servants here. We know, the Barrier Peaks expedition. Oh my gosh, they're everywhere. Yeah,
can't avoid it.
So, yes, that's the hapless superhero chap, the guy from Carrie with the curly blonde hair, and he was the Dayton Carrie. Yep. So, all right, my turn. No, it's not my turn. It's Anna's turn, right?
Okay, let me go from evil to good then, because we have the Kirko Rao that is being talked about a lot, but and I like that. I used it in my campaign too. So that's one of the that's kind of the opposite from that evil thing that just spreads end the world, so to speak. But the Kirko Rao doesn't seem to be that powerful. It doesn't automatically vanquish. It vanquished all the evil, kind of, and then it doesn't say really how it works in detail, I think. So I had it working within a certain range. And
I'm curious, was it a one-shot item?
No.
Or was it just because of the power level of who held it?
It actually is. I did some research on that. What's a good one? Anna.
Yeah.
So
please,
here
please continue.
Isle of the Ape. It's in there, and it has some abilities. And
Yeah.
here's an actual picture. Gary, someone changed it in third edition to this instead of, they made it almost like a cane, and completely made a changeover to it. And there's specific, oh God, I left it downstairs. There's specific uh, abilities of the Crook of Rao on it banishing demons. It's in there. It's in there.
Yeah.
But what they did was they took it to a whole nother level when they said, this banished a majority of the demons off of, somehow that happens. It doesn't really explain how that happens, which you're
Yeah.
correct, but it does.
Because ideally, then you could do it again.
Yes, you can. You
Yeah.
can go. You can just go all over the place and do it. But this is limited in its scope and its area, right? But
Yeah.
it still can do it.
The-
Looks
the
like an Egyptian crook. Yeah, I
Shepherd
wish
book.
I
It
had.
looks, it looks
kept-
like one of these that various bishops and stuff uses in Catholic Church and others. It's actually one of these old staff that the sheep herders used to use in ancient times and still use in many countries. So I think it comes from there. It's a Christian symbol in some ways, I guess. In many, it's written about in the Bible and stuff. So it's shepherd's cane or whatever it's called in English.
Yep.
And so it comes from there kind of. So and it's interesting because Cuthbert is another very Christian kind of thing that is inserted into it. So there's kind of a connection there in some way in traditionally, and there's just like there's old Greek and Finnish mythology and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it comes from, a lot of it has connotations in the real world, which is not bad at all. But one of the interesting things, the way I dealt with the Krukara was that it actually closed up gates and spells that connected the Flannies with the Netherworld.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so that's how I treated it. So it didn't banish all the demons outright. What it was, that it was something that the good side for Yundian and Veluna and the Shielands used in the war against Ayus. So when they came forth with it at the battlefield, it had a large range where you simply no planar connections down to the netherworld worked, so to speak. It blocked them out. It was a divine intervention that way. And then when they killed off the demons, they couldn't gate in any other demons and stuff like that in an area, and that kind of subsided over time. So it was more kind of a that way. It was is a weapon that you can use, but it didn't work everywhere, because they didn't work inside areas that was sanctified as I use temples and stuff, because then you literally had to tear down the temple first in order to reach it, or had to bring that thing inside in order to do it, and then it became like a fight who was the strongest, so to speak. So I try to set rules to it, but nothing is absolute, meaning it wins always or loses or whatever. So I don't have that. So everything has kind of a relative. It's basically a DC, and it overcomes most of the planar magic and stuff. So it was basically a way for the good side to try to lure out Ayus himself to the battlefield, because he could have sustained his troops, so to speak, but none else could. So
here's an interesting question about the crook that I have. So Gary wrote Isle of the Ape,
before,
right? Creates Crook of Rao for that adventure. He had a whole DM's guide full of artifacts, and he creates a whole new one for that module.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just get bored with what you have.
I think it's a good idea to create new ones, especially I like the Kruka Rao. I think it's and I like the concept of it. So then you can tweak it to fit your own campaign.
Well, your version of it is much better than the little nuclear bomb version that they had.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I want all these things to function, so to speak. I want the world to make sense from its own premises. That's why I always try to make rules for stuff like this. So, meaning it works like gravity in the real world, kind of, meaning it has even if you don't know how it works, there are rules for it. So I want to have these, and these aren't rules I tell the players. They have to figure it out by. If you become really powerful cleric or wizard and you do research and stuff, then you can understand the rules.
See, I mean, it's always important as a DM that you know.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
not always important that the players know.
Yeah, because that way I can make fair
True.
judgment when the players say, oh, we go off and do this. Then I can kind of, okay, the rules are this and they do that, then that will be the outcome, so to speak. And I can kind of, tweak things. So I always try to have rules for things like that. But so I used to cook around. It was interesting. We had a lot of fun with it. Yeah. That was it was one of these kind of cool things. And it was also a thing that was not relatively useful right away. It was not like swinging a +10 sword that you can kill things. It was more kind of an indirect. No character wanted to go around wielding that rather than fighting. So it was one of these things that were cool as a campaign item, but not something that gave direct personal power. It was more like a magnet for all the evils to come and kill you and steal it from you. So personally, for any character, they never wanted to wield it. So it was one of these campaign items that didn't turn the whole campaign, kind of made it power-wise going nuts, so to speak. And I think that's one of the DM. You always have to make sure that if you hand out, especially general items that give an enormous amount of pluses or make things invulnerable or whatever it is, always try to stay away from things like that. That's why I tried to make Kukara something that was campaign-wise to win a war. It was vital, but it didn't give personal power to any character really. And that fit the bill. Then you can make it really powerful if you don't make it personally wieldable by a single character, so to speak.
I think that's something they don't really have a good handle of in a lot of module writing.
Yeah.
And I think I mean, I was talking on the Cannon Fire Discord about how there's this power creep, like was in some of the Pathfinder things, where they had this 6 adventure thing in Pathfinder with their their adventures, and they'd start out low, but they'd have to power creep it up.
Yeah.
And that is always very hard. It's always very hard, and it's a big campaign enders when that power creep just takes over your game.
Yeah.
And it's so nice to have some items out there that players would love to have, but they aren't necessarily going to be able to have that direct overpowering boost to their abilities.
Yeah. And one other thing that I do in my campaigns is that really powerful magic comes with the ability that you can detect it. If you're a divine or a high-level spellcaster, you can detect magic from long distance, meaning small spells like a cantrip, you have to, that level of magic, you have to be close enough you can see it in order to detect it and sense it. But if you start using rituals that are more powerful than 9 level or using an artifact, you can sense it for miles and miles away, so to speak. So if the Krukara, for instance, that will be, you can sense it 3-4 times further away than the effect of it. So will almost immediately know that, okay, now it's out in the battlefield and he will come and get it. So that way it's something that when you use like a 9-level spell, if you use a wish behind enemy lines, so to speak, you're in trouble. Or if you start wielding the most powerful sword in the world, the enemy will know. and that's how I always blended, meaning powerful magic. If you're a powerful an archmage or something, you can detect that. You can sense that for miles around. If someone casted a 9th level spell, you can sense that for miles around. And so magic comes with that kind of caveat that it's very detectable. And that's one way of kind of making sure that they don't go around overusing it. And the same thing with magic artifacts and magic items. That magic effects, because they are also detectable that way. That's some of the stuff that I've introduced to kind of make the more, you have to have judgment in using them, so to speak, because they become beacons of interest for enemies. If you start wielding magic or especially artifacts, then you become someone's enemy almost immediately.
Yeah, and a quick story. Githyankai silver swords. Okay, what does it say in like in the Fiend Folio and everywhere else? Don't take it, right?
Yeah.
Don't take the Githyankai silver sword.
But they are the ones that they cut the silver cord for the astral travelers, right?
Absolutely. The special ones, the real powerful ones.
Yeah.
And that Githyankai will do anything to get them back. Well, of course, my
Mm-hmm.
guys didn't listen. You know, they took them because they thought this is one of the times in 40 years that we had a TPK, and they killed everyone.
Yeah, and also that artifacts are items that are unique, meaning you can use a locate object fairly easy with them because they're powerful. Unless there's some artifacts are probably the possibility of going stealth or whatever. But if you research that, that's how I do it. If you research an artifact well enough, you can start using locate item and start detecting where it is, and you can get hints and so on. So if you have an artifact and want to hide it, you have to use powerful magic or move it to some other dimension, and you have to take a lot of precautions. It's like having a lot of money or whatever in the real world, meaning you have to hide it well, and you have to put it in safes and or encrypt it if you have data somewhere. So it's the fantasy equivalent of it, so to speak. You have to go to, and just to make it more interesting, and characters, if you wield powerful magic and use artifacts, you have to face the downside of it too.
Absolutely. My gosh, we've been through a first hour. We've only gone through like 6. So
I know it's just,
Yeah.
that's funny. Here's one for me. And I never got, and if someone out there can tell me the origins of this, I tried doing some research. Maybe I just wasn't good at doing it. The invulnerable coat of Arn. Now, I don't, it's one of those few artifacts that doesn't have a negative effect on it. Most of them usually do have a negative quirk, but this one doesn't. I actually found this picture on, where is it? I'm going to go. This picture was done on DeviantArt by someone to represent it. So
Nice.
yeah, it's a +5 chainmail. It fits any completely invulnerable to physical attacks. Protects wearer from spells like +5 armor. It gives you a ring of fire resistance, and you're completely immune to acid, cold, and disease totally.
Meaning, yes, stuff like that. I would never use stuff like that. It needs to have some level of overcoming it, so to speak. Meaning,
Yeah, and that is in the original Dungeon Master's Guide and the original.
I try to stay away with indestructible items, meaning the thing that can destruct everything, and you're in trouble, so to speak. So
it says the High Priest Arn of Tadon, Tdon, is said to have been the original possessor of this relic. So I don't know, and it changes size too. Halfling up to half ogre can wear it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does anyone know that reference? TDON or TDAN? It looks like ON to me. High Priest ARND of TDON. So if you
I
know
tell you
that,
what I did in my own campaign, but that's too much of a tangent.
What's that? Yeah.
It's not in anything I know of.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just like a one-off.
Okay.
It may have been written up somewhere. I mean, there's so little information. That's why when we look at that artifact list from the Dungeon Master's Guide, it's so filled with lore compared to the little scatterings of we have it before.
Yeah.
It is such a there's so many name droppings going on in the artifact list.
Some got more developed than others.
And
I don't think this one did.
Yeah. Oh, thanks there, John. And this one, here's another one. Look at that. That puts us over the 20,000 mark. So special hero point for Saturday night. But we won't be cruel and give them all to the bad guys like the people were doing Saturday night against the Living Greyhawk people, which was really funny. So Jason and I were talking about ways to destroy an artifact, and then one was smash it against Talos, a triple iron golem.
Yeah, I love that.
Now, I know Talos is mentioned in an adventure somewhere, and he goes out into the sea. I know I saw it somewhere, but my theory is that was a Forgotten Realms thing that they ported over to. Does anyone remember any reference to Talos in any publication? The triple iron
Talos the big golem in
that was
the Harryhausen movie?
Probably. It's
okay. Yeah.
Jason the Argonauts is yeah. So the question is though, where did I see it in D&D? I know there's an article where he walks out into the. I know I saw it. It's got to be Forgotten Realms that they put it in, and that's where it comes from.
Maybe it can be one of the statues outside Harvey.
Yeah, Talos with the bed. It is Phantom. You think so? Okay, that's it. So maybe I saw it in a Forgotten Realms mentioned somewhere. It's spelled Talos. Yeah, yes, that's it. So okay, it is a Forgotten Realms thing. All right, well, that's another one. It's in the Dungeon Master's Guide. And there's all like you can destroy stuff. I never got this one too, Mike. By the foot of a humble ant. It's in that list. I'm like, what does that mean?
It's that list is great because it's like, oh, the sound of one hand clapping or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. A very interesting list. So
Heart of the Sun.
Talos, also known as the Storm Lord, and long ago was
Oh,
Koza the Fair. Yeah, Talos is a different. No, Talos is
He's a
that's
deity.
deity. That's the
Yeah.
Storm Lord deity. That's something different.
right.
That's something different from the deity. That's a different thing. I just was curious if anyone. I know I had seen it somewhere.
So you go over to Forgotten Realms with your item, you smash on the back of Talos' heel, and he's like, "What the hell?"
Absolutely. And there's all sorts of stuff. You go and dip it in the river Styx, and bathe it, put it in the light in the sun, and
And
So-
there was
Yeah.
it fourth edition or fifth edition, and I think a lot of later editions. Then all the artifacts have a built-in part of the description
Yeah.
how to make
Oh.
it and how it was made and how to unmake it, so to speak, or destroy it. So
Well-
that's part of the description. So yeah,
Those are good handy hints, but
yeah.
that's the kind of thing I think a DM really has to grab hold of and steer in the direction of their campaign.
hmm Oh yeah.
The creation and destruction of some,
Yeah.
like we call them, the artifacts could just be called MacGuffins. They are just, they're Deus Ex Machina a lot.
hmm
No,
But
no,
I think
Dorgrim. Yeah, I'm looking for the triple iron golem Talos in actually an adventure. I know I saw it, and I know he gets lost he walks into the sea and is never seen again, and I don't know where I saw it. That's why I'm not for Talos the deity, the golem. It's driving me crazy because I couldn't
Yeah.
find it. I looked everywhere.
I think
So-
DM 221532 has an awesome point when it said they don't have unique. Each artifact should have a unique way of being destroyed, so to speak. There should not be a generic way of destroying artifacts. They should all be
Mount Doom,
yeah.
Mount Doom, Mount Doom.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Mount Doom was for the one ring, but all the other ones that they should all have a unique way of doing it. So
It was a cool, I think that list in the Dungeon Master's Guide is just some suggestions for creativity. It's a great list. Just join them. Oh my God.
well, disjoin then they can be transported somewhere.
Yeah, the
or
powers
something.
go somewhere else.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, you could kind of the disappear or it reassembles itself or something like that. So I don't know. Yeah.
All right, Mike, you're up.
Okay, so here's another very powerful artifact that I've never actually used in my campaign because it would be too much of a game breaker, but I used it a lot in my comic, and that is the Codex of Infinite Planes.
Yes.
yes.
Please go in
I
and
know
talk about it.
Malden, if you go on melcot.com, Malden has everything you want to know about
Mhm.
Mhm.
the Codex.
Oh,
the
shout out
Codex is-
time.
It's just one of them great lore. It's got a lot of lore associated with it. House of Woe and all that, I believe. City of Brass. It's
And that's a good representative of another category of artifact that is the one that gives you not power directly, it gives you information and it kind of reveals things as much as being something you wield and kill someone with or something like that. So I kind of really like that kind of metaphor with the book.
Well,
yeah.
In the Eldritch Sorcery, and I don't know if this is a Dungeon Master's Guide, it says, long ago the wizard cleric who ruled the Isles of Woe lost in the Lake of Unknown Depths. Okay, so that's in your Deve, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Use this work to gain knowledge of great power. So, anyone ever done anything on the Isle of Woe, or is it just in here?
No, I haven't done
I think
anything with
Greyhawk
it.
had something on it.
Okay,
And-
okay.
Yeah. And it's one of these things that move around, so I haven't even put it on my map.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
Yes, and it's one of the things in the DMG that has World of Greyhawk in dark letters there.
Earth Journal 13. There it is. Okay, thank you,
Wow.
Grendelwolf. I knew I saw it somewhere, and I couldn't place it. Artifacts Evil by Russell Bird for Talos the Iron Girl. Thank you. I knew it. I wasn't going insane. I had
there
seen
you
it
go.
somewhere. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Gitano, that's a home run there. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. I'm gonna look that up when we're done. So, this codex. Will someone in the living Greyhawk world please tell me how this codex, this codex was evolved to values, and Kerman Mindbender tried stealing it. I've heard this story like only in pieces in Living Greyhawk. I know the codex was involved in that. Am I smoking something?
Yeah, I haven't studied it in detail, but there is a lot of writing, and it was also in the Fiendish Codex that was for 3.5. That was like 3 volumes, I think. It were mentioned there too, and Meldon has a write-up about it. So I know I have a lot of info stashed away in Evernote about it, but I haven't got to reading it and studying it, and I haven't had the intention of using it in any of my campaigns yet. But it's one of these things that I think is really, really cool. Yeah.
Again, I like this item because it's huge. It's not like a little bitty book. This is a huge.
No, it's like
book.
yeah.
Yeah, and so it's not something you can like take around with you. You got to like leave it at your base or something.
Yeah, you have to cart it around in like a big wagon. Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
And it's how I always depict it in my comic was it brings disasters. That's like the Owls of Woe. So using it, something bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's now one of these apocalyptic artifacts, of course.
It says right in here, any person under 10th touches it, it instantly slays them.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Fun times. Good one, Mike. What about you, Jason? What do you got next?
Well, mine's probably something. There's an entire module written about it. I've never used it, and it's the Axe of the Dwarvish Lords. Now, the axe is created. There are six powerful weapons created by the dwarves before that either formed the axe or were created to develop the axe. But it is the single most powerful dwarvish weapon. And we don't know much about the old dwarven kingdoms. They're lost in our campaign. So there's some theories about these 6 dwarven kingdoms, each building one of these powerful weapons to, to develop the axe. And one of the themes of my campaign is that there is a lost, hidden dwarven kingdom, and out there in the mountains of the West. And that in modern times, it's Greyhawk 576. It is going to start revealing itself, and that there's going to be this old kingdom of the dwarves that is now a force to be reckoned with in the West.
Yes.
And I've tied that with the Axe of the Dwarvish Lords.
It's I never ran that adventure, but I have it. The actual Axe of the Dwarvish Lords adventure.
Now, I've never run the adventure because the axe is an artifact that predates that adventure.
Yeah, it does. It does. It says it's been lost for it was disappeared in a battle over 1,000 years ago. So cool item. There's a lot of there's always seems to be, whether it's Middle Earth or Greyhawk or wherever, dwarves tend to lose their stuff a lot.
But isn't that the interesting thing with artifacts are always lost?
Yeah.
That seems to be one of they're always lost somewhere. So they really, someone invests a hell of a lot of prestige and power and time and money and all sorts of resources in making this thing, and then they lose it. But on the other hand, it's probably been used over a generation, and then it's their grandkids that loses it or something, or the next one in line. So I guess that, yeah. But
or it's like, it's like you're saying, Anna, where it brings trouble.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it brings trouble. So yeah, you draw attention to you when you have it. So yeah. And I kind of invented one that was kind of hinted at in Living Greyhawk Gazetteer. I think it was hinted at, and so I invented it and used it as one of my MacGuffins in one of my campaigns. Yeah.
Anna, you were up next.
Yep. So I'm going to talk about an artifact that is it's hinted at, I think, in the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer. So I think that Gary knows way more about this than I do. But so that was the Banner of Almor. And the it's hinted at that after when the Duke's Sephrin, or General Prince or whatever he was, Sephrin, when he had run over Almor and slaughtered them all and done things and kind of raised shot hold to the ground, there was a banner of Almor that was still in the rubble somewhere, so to speak, that the defenders kind of gather around at the bitter end, so to speak. And I took that little note somewhere that I read somewhere. I think it's in the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, but it might be something that someone wrote just as a side note in Living Greyhawk stuff. So I invented the banner, and it's it's like a long spear that has the Almor shield on it, and you stand, and when you have that and you swear your allegiance to Almor, then you get a whole bunch of benefits, so to speak. You can mass heal, you can raise dead once a day, and you can do a whole bunch of stuff. And the banner, the shield of the banner, you can actually take down and use as a +5 shield as well. So you get a whole bunch of benefits that way. You can heal out this, and you get like boost morale and stuff like that. So you get some bardic abilities and stuff that comes from it. And I wasn't really interested in letting the characters use it. That was not the primary thing. It was one of these things that Duke Sephrin and his they found that thing, and they were hiding it away because they didn't have time. They had to figure out how to destroy it, but they didn't have time, and they kind of felt that Alma was gone, so no one really wanted. So they just hid it away, and then it ended up in the Lord Mistrin. That was the one of the caretakers for the leftovers from the Night Protectors. They ended up with it because Duke Sephrin was one of the top ones. So when he took the treasure back to Rossi's to see if he could take power when the whole kingdom fell apart, then the Banner of Almor ended up with a whole bunch of other treasure and wealth that Lord Mastrin was hiding away for future use, so to speak. And he saw that it was really powerful, so he didn't want to have it in his castle, so he put it in the Wailing Halls, and they put it in the tower, and actually put it inside as one of the decorations on the wall and painted it over, so to speak. So it's like an old rusty shield sitting on the wall in the top, so to speak. And I had my characters going to go and look for it. That was part of the thing, so to speak. So they detected magic, and there was someone saying that it was something very powerful there. And there was a banshee guarding it too, and the banshee had no knowledge of what it was, so to speak. And I don't think they ever figured out that Lord Mistrin was that in on it. He came afterwards, and there was a big battle outside and stuff. So that was part of it. But that was one of the MacGuffins that I used, so to speak, that never really, it didn't get used, but it was one of the treasures they can actually pick up. And it was more of a symbolic value, because if they brought it back to Nyrond, they could have used it to rally the people and the refugees and stuff, to kind of bring back the spirit of Almor again. That was the big deal. So it would have been a political win much more than the actual gain of power, so to speak.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I like how you find that stuff. I know Gary said it's what's the difference between a relic and an artifact? Not much. Relics are imbued by the deities mostly, right?
Yes.
That's
Yeah. So
what
this
I
is kind of,
believe.
it's more like a powerful magic item, but yeah.
Yeah.
St. Cuthbert would be a relic then.
Yeah.
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 Definitely. All right, so I got one from a module, 2 or 3 from a module. Actually, got 2. Let's go to if you've never run Shokanth, Lost Caverns of Shokanth, you need to do it once in your life. It's such a fantastic adventure. I know it's Carlos's favorite of all time. It's one of my favorites of all time. But within Lost Caverns of Shokanth, and it's a very old adventure, very old. But it was released, I think, in like 81 or 82. This one came out. But in the middle of, once you get through all these traps and get through all these, you gotta go through multiple doors. Inside are 4 items, I would say, that are really crazy. First of all, Drelsna's there, there's a picture of her. I think that's the 3rd or 4th edition remake of it. I wanted to use the color one. She's like basically Ia's his half sister, and there's Daoud's Wondrous Lanthorn, okay, there, and there's also a Prison of Zagig in there. There's also her weapon's an Unholy Reaver. And she herself could even be considered an evil artifact, you know what I mean? Because she's been in stasis or whatever. But the Dave's Wondrous Lanthorn's a really cool item. Yeah, it's a cool module. And I think I let them keep the Prison of Zagig when they ran it, but not the Lanthorn, because there's only so many of the you got to put the colored gems or shielding across it and then spin it to get different abilities. I think they were missing some of them. You could find some of the other ones. What's an Unholy Reaver? It's the opposite of a Holy Avenger. Yeah, yeah. It's the exact opposite of a Holy Avenger, and I'm almost positive she's an Unholy Reaver in that. And it's a favorite thing of anti-paladins. So I love that one. And then another one I just want to mention is showing right now. Let me go back to that. If you've ever done White Plume Mountain, there's 3 major weapons in there. And I love this pick I found of it. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Let me go back to that here. Let me go back to Dave's.
White Plume Mountain.
Yeah, I mean, White Plume Mountain there's the original White Plume Mountain. There's a return, and there's some other different covers. I think it's an orange cover too, if I recall.
I think I've ran White Plume Mountain.
Yeah.
I think I've ran White Plume Mountain this year.
Okay.
I think I've ran it in every decade, 80s, 90s.
Oh, then we need to talk, because it's going to play a part in my next campaign. So I'm interested to know everything there is to know about it. Yep.
I was just listening to Lawrence Schick talk about that on
Carlos' interview.
Yeah, and
then I need to listen. Yeah,
you
forgot
definitely
about that one.
to.
Yep.
White Plume Mountain was his resume when they wanted him to when he applied to TSR. He sent them White Plume Mountain, and they liked it so much that they just published it. And that's all they needed to know about him, was that he could do something of that level. And what an incredible adventure,
Yeah. So it's great, and they put it in the 25th Silver Anniversary Return to White Plume Mountain, which I think is good too. Sometimes I don't like those return ones, but I thought that one was done pretty well. And so you have Wave, which is a trident. You have Whelm, which is a dwarven hammer, and then you have Black Razor, which actually has like the universe inside it, right? It's like it's really cool looking. And someone did all 3 of them here, and I found this on Pinterest. I was like, cool, to get pictures of all of them there. So, what was off limits for you in the BK? There was nothing off limits for you, Casey. Come on, there was nothing.
What's that big mountain on the horizon?
Yeah, there was nothing off limits. No.
Yeah.
No. So, White Plume was, imagine that. I agree, Gary. It's a ripoff of Elric of Melnibone's weapon. I agree 100%, but who cares? It's still cool. You shouldn't have it. And one last thing, Gribbly asks, is there any way to make Drelsna a sympathetic character? And just the straight answer is no. She's the daughter of Igwolf and Grazitz. I don't think so. I don't see how you make that a sympathetic character at all. So, yeah. Hey, Asher, what's up? So, yes, I love all those weapons are pretty cool. They all have negative side effects, especially Black Razor. Whelm has a major one too.
It's what Poseidon, Elric, and Thor.
Yep.
The 3 weapons there.
Yeah.
And Schick came up with it, so he made them, right?
Yes, I mean they are retrofitted into Greyhawk.
Yeah. And once again, we're talking about in the 70s now, so there's not as much richness out there, and there's no internet, so lore, right? Mjolnir, or Poseidon out holding that trident. That's what you know. And Melniboné and Nawan were known, and Cthulhu was Cthulhu. Lovecraft's from the 20s. It's
Yeah.
Lovecraft
think
from the
so.
20s, the writings in that.
20s and 30s.
So that's what people knew. I mean, people knew some of the older books and stuff, but it really wasn't until the age of in the internet where everything else jumped out. So pretty cool. I just wanted to bring those up because
Definitely broke the mold.
Yeah.
I mean, how many big name tridents are out there in the game?
There's a Trident of Fish Command.
Yeah, which is one
They
of
don't have a name though.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
it's probably
Yeah.
more useful to feed yourself and your village than anything else. Yeah.
So,
Good
Mike,
stuff.
you're up again.
Wow, so you dished out quite a few there.
Oh, did I rip you off?
No. I do like that Waipulan's probably my favorite
Module?
published module because I've just ran that so many times. It's so easy. The items, while powerful, are
Got it.
just they're iconic. They don't take much explaining. No, I'm going to go way off reservation here. And one thing I like about artifacts, unlike the aforementioned ones, Black Razor and Whelm and stuff like that, I like the artifacts that are items you can't get in other ways, like the Mighty Servant and the Machine Alum the Mad. There are no other items like that. Baba Yaga's hut, one of a kind. There are no other magical huts out there like that. So I guess what I'm kind of getting around to is I used Kuroth's quill once.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many who would think of using a magic quill? It seems obvious, in a game with wizards and spell books and things, why not have magic quills, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But as far as I know, that's the only magic quill out there. And it happens to be an artifact. And it came into play during my faded Epic 3.5 Epic campaign, where my players' characters had got so powerful and power hungry that they were worse than any villains I could come up with. So I had to dispose of them, and the way they did some atrocious thing, and so all but one of them, who was playing a lawful good paladin, I banished all their characters by writing them out of existence.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were wiped out of existence. Nobody remembered them except for the one player's lawful good paladin. And so the other players then start begging that player, help us bring our characters back. They're all scheming. And this is outside the game. That's how involved this game was. They were talking about the game after we were playing. So finally they come to me and they're like, okay, my paladin wants to bring the other characters back, but they're going to owe her, a favor. They promise to reform. All this stuff. I'm like, okay. So then I came up with an idea. You need Kuroth's quill. I don't know what it does in the DM's guide or whatever, what its normal powers are. What I said that it would do is this quill can alter reality. So whatever you write becomes the reality. You can write those characters back in existence. Maybe make them good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a great idea.
That's how I twisted that artifact.
Mm-hmm.
That's got Doctor Who effects to it, where when they come back, it's slightly different. It's almost like a little mini butterfly effect.
Mm-hmm.
I think they may be the same, but there's little differences. Cool.
But like Gary says,
episode.
Yeah. But like Gary says, Kuroth's a thief god, so I'm not really sure what the connection there is with quills and thieves.
Yeah.
Maybe he forged documents.
Yeah, it might be that you can write a copy of any document or something.
Yes, let's write WG7 out of existence.
That's just wrong, man.
Yeah.
That is wrong, dude. What did WG7 ever do to you? Probably a lot.
Yeah, it's pure.
So there's my anecdote on that artifact.
Cool. That's great. That's a great story. So did they get him back, or?
Yeah, they brought him back, and I had to kill him again.
I'll just kill him the old-fashioned way.
You know how I got rid of him the second time? I banished them all to the Furgar. Not
Forgotten Realms and Jersey
the
King.
far realms.
Oh.
I banished them to the far realms, and they still talk about it to this day.
You should have banished them to the Forgotten Realms and had
Yeah,
Artemis
I
and
need to
Trary and Bridgers are there. They can't die,
Yeah.
and it would have been over.
Then they'd be outclassed. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's a great story, Mike. That is.
Yeah, that's
You
awesome.
know what? You need to write. You need to do a post on that story.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm serious. I swear, that's a great one.
Yep.
I don't know if that's a scab I want to pick.
Yeah.
That is a great story.
That is awesome. Yep.
Jason.
Well, I couldn't leave this out. The Wand of Orcus.
Yes.
Ooh, okay. Good.
You know, it's simply because after that Phineas Fingers business,
Yes.
where Phineas gets hold of the Wand of Orcus, I just had to put that into my games. So the wand is only a wand in the hands of Orcus because he's gigantic.
Right.
And so this thing in my campaign is like, it's like 4 or 5 feet tall. It's gigantic, weighs a ton.
Nice.
And it just caused my players unending havoc when I used this with a very low level game. 3rd or 4th level players come across the Wand of Orcus. And it was some of the most hilarious play that we've had because the wand had several natural things that I just.
Oh.
Damn, we went past 10 seconds. Yep.
Artifact got him.
Does anyone know? All right, so Crom tried which module had the magic sword to possess the characters? I don't remember that one.
10 seconds.
That's okay.
Yep. Okay. Good. You're back. Good. Yep.
But they ended up. They do this low level dungeon crawl, and they discover an old temple of Orcus that is abandoned. And they found this incredibly. They didn't know what it was. This was early enough on where they didn't know this was the Wand of Orcus, and they get this thing on a wagon, and they're rolling it through, and they're just slaying people left and right. Like when they bring it to this village for the night, they end up turning the entire village into zombies.
Nice.
So they wake up in the morning.
And it was a nice
That's
village till the zombies came.
Yep.
Yes, and
Took
Jason
it.
once again
Yep.
dropped out.
But that's a great idea. Yep. That's a good one. Yep.
We want to get back to some old school. Jason, let me know when you're back.
I'm back.
Okay,
sorry about that. I'm
Good.
going out real quick.
It was a good story. It was an awesome story with the zombies in the morning. That's
yeah.
great. Yeah.
So anyway, the Wand of Orcus, it's just something I would never use in the regular campaign, but just as and it's a good example of how an artifact is more than just its abilities.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Mike is saying, it's a setting in itself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Malin just asked, where is the codex?
He's late.
You're late. Yeah, we already had that one, Malden. We already did the codex, man. But that's okay.
Come in
it's okay.
Early. Yep.
Yes, we
That's
did.
like the first thing I threw out because I knew you weren't here.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
That's all right, man. No problem. Good to see you on. So I'm gonna throw a little Easter egg out there. We're going to go back to a little more old school roots. Not everything's going to be against the IUs coming up in my campaign. We're going to get back to like the Dark Brotherhood and stuff. Plus, Bill came up with a fantastic idea. So you're going to see connections to Orcus coming up shortly too. So there you go. Get a little back to some old stuff. So that I love that connection there. That was a real good one. Jason, Anna, you are up.
Okay, now I can't resist anymore. I've talked about good stuff too long, so now it's time for some evil. And one thing that is interesting, because it's not so much a thing, it's actually part of the meaning. Some artifacts are things, machines and swords, whatever. But I'm thinking about Vecna, and Vecna has at least 3 kind of artifacts tied to him. First, 2 body parts: his hand and his eye, and that left over. And then you have the sword of Kaz, that his lieutenant, that kind of disappeared in when they two fought, and it was the hand and the eye of Vecna and the sword of Kaz that was kind of left over. So
Full
they're like
set.
three of them that are intimately tied to Vecna, and I think they're really cool, and they're kind of different in a way because they actually are old body parts of Vecna that has some of his powers and stuff. So they have a cool story and a cool flair to them, and they're also intimately linked to the setting of Greyhawk, and I think that puts them in that kind of firm category of Greyhawk artifacts that are really, really cool. And they even transcended because Vecna become a demigod and moved on and create a story that was for himself, that was bigger than the setting or was separate from the setting. So what are you, any of you guys used Vecna in campaign, or the hand, or the eye?
Yeah, the items never got in the hands of my players somehow.
Yeah.
But I
Good
did
thing,
run
too.
Vecna Lives.
What's the one? Die Vecna Die would have every part of his body as a magic item after that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think they went. Yeah, I like it
Yeah.
just a few. I never went there with Vecna, and I don't know why. I just saw it as wow, it's one step up in power. And then when I found out about the comic, and that Vecna was like the whole main antithesis pre Greyhawk City time, right? Is that true? Like,
Way
Yeah,
back.
yeah, it's like 1500, 2000 years
yeah.
before
I mean, I was like,
576. So it's
wow.
an early time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Greyhawk prehistory. Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree that the hand eye can wreck a campaign, Gary, and that's it.
Yeah.
A lot of things can wreck a campaign.
Yeah.
A deck of many things can wreck a campaign.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. There's a lot of things. I agree, Casey. Any artifact can wreck a campaign. So, plus
Yeah.
any living Greyhawk player can wreck a
Yeah.
campaign. I'm just kidding, Casey. That was
Yeah.
just a joke.
I've
I'm
used
joking.
Yeah, I've used Vecna more as the old boogeyman that you scare players with without really, because it's one of these old things that almost everyone that has intelligence above 8 have heard in the whole of the Flanding setting, have heard about Vecna and all. It's a ghost of horrors in the past, so to speak. It's ancient history, and therefore it's both more potent and very distant at the same time. So I haven't used it directly, but I've used it as a kind of generic boogeyman that you can scare the players with. That certain people in power, they say, "Ooh, it's so scary with Vecna," and so on and so forth. And Bard sings horror nightmare songs and scare their audience with Vecna and so on and so forth. He's more myth and legend than any real power, so to speak, in it. So I never had the hand and the eye have never been close to the players. But another interesting story is that was like a fake Vecna that was part of the story too. That was like someone pretended to be or something. So there's a whole story of what happened to the hand and the eye afterwards.
The
And you can,
items,
yeah,
if you use the items, you slowly
Tom
think you
Vecna.
are Vecna.
yeah,
The
exactly.
Corruptus
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
powers of him too.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's so I kind of like how they are set up, and I like how what they came from and stuff. But it's like many said, they are potent enough that they can ruin any campaign and bring
So
it off the rails completely.
I have to mention in chat that the minute we came up with Vecna, there was 30 posts about the crotch of Vecna and the ball sack of Vecna that came up in chat. So no matter how old all of us are, we're all children, right?
Yeah. But
Absolutely.
you have a wonderful story about bringing back So
Yeah. We have. Well,
the resurrection.
I actually have. Yes, the junior, which I told Saturday night, and
Yeah,
it
you
was
told it a couple of times, but I
yeah.
think there are people in the audience who haven't heard it yet.
Well,
It's
here's a
kind of
better one. So
okay.
there's
Awesome. Yep.
the Gravemore, which is Advanced Adventures. If you guys know that company, they have an area called the Gravemore. I put that to the southeast of Hardby. It's an old sets of mounds that go up against the Arborels. And I took, and because I'm just I don't even want to get into how this happened, but there's one, and it's like a cunt, it's like a rag, right? TWAL is the guy, Lord Twal. You can figure out who I'm busting, all right? All right, TWAL, Lord Twal, and one of our characters has. It functions as the Horseman's Mace. The name of the artifact, semi-artifact, is Lord Twal's mummified member. You figure out what it is. There you go. All right, and on a critical hit, it can rot a limb off. So there you go. And that exists in the game. That's an RP. Yes, sometimes I have to go too far. We all do.
Yeah. Oh
So,
yeah, we all do. Yeah,
yeah.
we all do. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a funny story. I
Otherwise,
won't
you
tell
haven't
the.
gamed enough. If you haven't gone
Yes.
off the rails occasionally, you need to game more.
Yes, so that exists. That's a little minor artifact in our game.
Yeah.
So who is up next? I guess I'm up with something realistic here.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to and Mike. I apologize. I didn't realize you knew that, but smaller artifacts named. They're not really super artifacts, but I like these adventures. I like the Sentinel and the Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's low level and it's
Yeah.
a cool thing, and you're not going to get either one if you do the adventures properly. I'm going to save that last, the Fiend's Embrace for last for me. So here you go. They're UKs, UK2, UK3. The levels are like levels 3 to 5. They're great to play. They take place in the Hold of the Sea Princes, which is
Oh,
cool. Yeah, so they're placed in they're UK modules placed there.
I really wonder if the Sea Prince's Salt Marsh area was ceded to the England TSR group to
That
develop.
might be. Yeah.
That's where all the modules are set.
Yeah. Yeah. They
In that
have
corner.
down in Berghof and down in
Yeah.
south of.
It's out of the way.
Beyond the Crystal Cave.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's out of the way. It's out of so they can't cause trouble. That's my thought
Oh yeah,
process on
exactly.
it.
Yeah, they're really and some of them were doing down in the hell furnaces. They did some escape to and stuff in one of them, I think.
So you get to the Ring of Gax. The Ring of Gax is another one in Forgotten Realms. So the Sentinel, you get to use the Sentinel and this you get at the end, but it has to destroy the Gauntlet or it's not going to give you powers. So then you go and you destroy the Gauntlet, and when they touch, they boom, and you don't get either one of them. So that's why I kind of like it. It's Graham Morris who always does a good module, and so cool one for low level characters to check out.
Yeah.
Those modules have great art.
Yeah.
Cartography.
The cartography. Oh.
Yeah, the cartography is good. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you probably can get them reasonably, and you don't have to place it there because it really doesn't matter. I mean, if you have another campaign, there's a Gauntlet. If you have another campaign, you can place it somewhere. It's not going to be earth shattering and change something, you know. So it's a good one. Well, that one's mine, Mike.
Yeah. So let's talk about another artifact that I haven't really. Yeah, I guess I did use it, but I don't think I used it as intended in the DM's guide, and that is the Jacinth of Inestimable Beauty.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what its normal powers are. All I know is that in my campaign, the purpose of it is whoever has this gem or whatever it is, you are the ruler of the Backlunish Empire. That was its. That's what its function is. It's like a crown jewel or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I had a whole quest revolving around getting it, and I did. This was back in the second edition, and that item did unite all the Backlunish lands into an empire,
including all.
And that'll probably end up being in one of my Greyhawkery War blogs.
Beautiful.
So, coming soon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what it says here?
No, that's based on Living Greyhawk lore.
Ah, cool.
So I'm just tying sources in.
20 feet. Okay, nice. It's Corundum. It's a Corundum gem.
Now I'm sure its intended purpose is probably something about influencing people or something. I don't know.
Excellent. Cool one. And yeah, I would love to see that in the writings as well. Jason, what do we got, man?
Well, I've been doing this series of historical write-ups about things that happened in the past. And one of the things I was interested in was Queen Alyssa and her Nightingale and her history a little bit. So
nice one.
This is a little off the beaten because in the book, it says that Mordenkainen says that this was created by Jeremy and Zaggy, and I didn't use that at all. So I've developed a little story between Queen Alyssa and her history, and there were these alliance with the people from Blackmoor, and these two Blackmoorian wizards were in love with her, and the one was this great inventor, and he's the one who invented the nightingale, and he imprisoned the spirit of the other wizard in the nightingale itself, and it led to this curse, and where she ended up with their son. She ends up marrying the one wizard, and they have a son, and the son is cursed, and it all involves a lot of stuff that happened in reality here on Earth with a Hungarian inventor who supposedly invented this wooden mannequin that played chess. But anyway, I'm telling you all this
because she's going to get cut
Because
off.
he
Yes.
just to run out the
Damn.
time.
Yep. Yep, that happens.
He should know. He needs to.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. You should just take a
That's
pause for 2
funny.
seconds and let someone else. Yeah,
That's
that
shameful.
happens.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's another story cut short.
Yep.
You.
But anyway, it's just because there's this little thing. This is dealing with what is an artifact. Is it something that is so powerful, or is it just something that has some depth to it? So there's this one magical item, cursed magical item that I've come up with called the Box of Dancing Mice, and it is related to the whole Queen Alyssa story.
Okay.
And with the Box of Dancing Mice, it's a little wooden box, and you open it up, and the bones of these mice pour out, and they begin to play music. And they're playing tiny little musical instruments while others of the bones dance in a circle around it. Now, it seems like just a toy, and when you put it away, it's just put away, but you cannot get rid of the box. And every time that you play it, the players they have nightmares about it that grow and grow and grow until the point where they're trying to find a way of destroying the box of dancing mice.
It doesn't sound pleasant.
Oh, it's very unpleasant. Yes.
Is there an unlimited number of mice in the box? I mean, do they come out like thousands of them?
No, it's just bones.
Oh, okay.
It's the bones of these mice that dance in a little thing, and it looks like a strange macabre toy, but it's really one of the cursed items that belonged to Queen Alyssa, the nightingale.
That sounds like you have been conspiring with Tim.
Yeah.
And that sounds on that level of disturbingness. So good job, Jason, on that one. Absolutely. Anna.
Okay, now it's getting kind of tough for me because you guys are the experts on all these kind of
Right.
I'll
items.
give you one you've talked about. How about the orb, crown, and scepter of might of evil?
Yeah.
Remember you talked about
yes,
those.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one that is kind of the
There's the crown.
yeah.
No pick of an orb though, guys. We got the crown and the scepter of might.
Yeah, there is a picture in the there is a good image in here on page 117, if I remember correctly.
I know I
or
used some of them
18.
crowns before, but
There's a neutral crown.
Yeah, here. Yeah,
there's
foggy.
there
Oh.
is a
Okay.
there's a
All right. Great. Yeah. All three of them.
Nice.
Nice pick.
Yep. So there's a
That's the
actually
evil
really
one
good-
though. The evil set
Yep,
of
the
three.
evil one. Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's mention and see if we can the good one. So The good one is in here. Let's see if we can.
Because
find it.
there's a set of 3 of each for each alignment set:
Yeah.
neutrality, good, and evil.
So there is there's an interesting one this is one that I should have remembered. Let's do this one first. The cup and the talisman of Alakbar.
Alakbar.
Yeah, that's one that has a Greyhawk home right away, so to speak. So that's
Is it from Al Qadim or is it in Greyhawk?
It's a DMG.
Yeah, I know, but where is it placed?
It's placed in. Hang on a second here. I put it on. It's from an adventure. I forgot exactly what it is, but it's actually placed in. There's a whole realm whole country that I put.
Okay, according to Gary, just suspect Lunar lands. The Paynims, Plain of the Paynims.
Yeah, and it's called. Hang on a second here. It's called the Sultanate of Arir. And it's mentioned in the cup of it's an adventure, the cup of talisman or whatever.
I think you put it in the dry steppes.
Yeah, so it's actually it's in the eastern dry steppes is the southern end of the Paynims before it hits the Sulhat Mountains, and in the east up against the Christomus Mountains there is the Sultanate of Arir, and that's mentioned in the cup and the talisman. It's an adventure about that these artifacts play some sort of role. I never played it, but I read it. And I forgot how or what it was published, but it's set and described to be in there. So yeah.
Gary says they were given to the Paynims to survive the American devastation. I did not know that tidbit of information.
Yep.
Did not know that. That's awesome.
Yep.
Cool.
So
cool
that's
data.
Yeah, that's right out of the DMG first edition.
Yep. And the capital is the city of Khaybar. That is mentioned in this book too, so it's there's some of the story and stuff in it. So that one has a Greyhawk, not a strong Greyhawk connection, but it has a Greyhawk connection. So yeah.
It does from the DMG because it mentions the invoked devastation, the Paynims that
so
it's last.
So there's like multiple different.
The module itself doesn't have a strong Greyhawk link. Other than that, it is the about Al-Akbar, I-9.
Yeah. So it's there, and but then we have the regalia of good that is the counterpart to the evil ones. And the interesting thing, I don't think I've seen anything written that is Greyhawk connected to this. So this is, I think, more of a game mechanic thing, that since there is a regalia of evil that is like that very much is similar to what Gary wrote in the Gord books, then they invented the opposite, because it's so that, to me, it's not an item with Greyhawk connections. Is more like mechanically, if the evil ones make one, then a set of artifacts, and the good ones can have a set too. So that's how I interpret the ones in here. So it's basically the opposite. So it's a kind of a crown and a scepter and an orb. So yeah.
Do we all agree to stick on major artifacts, and we'll have our own show on named magic items, so we can go through all the ones in here, the hundreds of ones in here?
Oh yeah.
We're not going to get to this.
We can have a whole show about that book.
That's what I mean. I think that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
All right. So Gary, sorry, but your amulet spine castle will not get mentioned tonight. Oh, didn't I just mention it? Okay.
Yeah, and then there's the regalia of neutrality.
There's a whole bunch of stuff.
See if I can find some. You go on, and I'll see if I can find that one, and see if I can find.
Awesome. All right. Yep. Let's go to another ripped off one to Forgotten Realms, and that's the Ring of Gax, because they actually have. This is one you can actually get in Baldur's Gate as well. I recall. I think my character had it. So, and here's the stat card for it. I believe it's Baldur's Gate 2 for this one as well. We haven't talked about that here. So yeah, it says where regenerates 1 hit point every 3 seconds. Holy schmolies. So invisibility, approved haste 3 times per day, which means you don't age. I mean, it's a nasty item. 10% magic resistance, saves, all sorts of things. So that is a really cool item, and it's in the original Dungeon Master's Guide as well. It says this piece of jewelry is of totally alien origin. Imagine that. More aliens. So Ring of Gax must be placed in finger.
You guys are coming around to my way of thinking.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So therefore, each day the ring is used. Random facet facing must be determined and discovered as where. So there's all different sorts of abilities on it. It's not as simple as putting it on in a video game. It appears in this one. So yeah. Once again, it has some negative effects as well in the Dungeon Master's Guide. So another one, yeah, don't wear it for too long. Owned by some young guy. So yeah, Jordy's masks in here too. I believe, isn't it? And
Oh
that,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know if I could find a picture for that one or not. We actually, when I was a kid, I don't know if Tim and Walt are on, but we played in a game that Tim's uncle was DMing, and there was a cat person. This is how, this is back in the days when everything was Monty Hall. The bard had Jordy's mask in the group. I was like, isn't that an artifact? I was like, oh my gosh, they're carrying around artifacts, and that was playing with adults back then. So I don't know what it does that much. I think it allows you to assume identity of anyone. Is that true? On Jordy's mask, mask completely covers the face and enables him to assume the likeness of any human or human-like creature. Yep. Also
That's
prevents
huge.
mind control, direction of attack. So immunity to all gaze attacks too. So pretty neat.
That would be a good villain item to have.
It would be a really good villain item to have. I don't see that as a extremely super powerful item, but a very useful artifact item. Like Anna, did you find what you were looking for?
Yep, I'm reading, and it has a kind of a long description, but it has it has some Greyhawk connection. It has Udiluk's Resilience Sphere. You can cast that like once a day, or 3 times a day. So you can get Udiluk's Resilience
Sphere.
Sphere once a day.
Yeah.
But basically it gives you charismatic powers. So you like Gaia's quest, you can get diplomacy and a bunch of, so it's basically the base powers is that you can persuade others to do what you want, so to speak. That's the basis premises of it, so to speak. So it doesn't give you any real like warlike powers that way, and you don't do damage and stuff, but you kind of influence and persuade and lure and willfully force people to and other creatures to do your command and your bidding. And this book is interesting because it has all 3. It has the Regalia of Good, Regalia of Evil, and the Regalia of Neutrality all in one book.
Beautiful.
And the Rod of 7 parts in 3.5 version, which probably works really well in Pathfinder 2 if you run those rules.
So, Mike, what do you got next round?
So if you're down in the Bright Desert area, there's a couple interesting things that you could run into. And one deal is the Scorpion Crown in Rary the Trader that has pretty much corrupted the whole land. It used to be somewhat good, and that item, for whatever it does, supposed to do, is, it could undo the Bright Desert back to normal if you could get it. Also in that area is Mar Castle, and one of the artifacts that helps you get into Mar Castle at the very outset in Morton Keenan's Fantastic Adventure is the Silver Key of Portals, which is a really nice item to have if you're a thief.
Is it, and it's unlimited use? It's not a one shot?
I'm sure it can open anything.
Wow.
It's one of them type of artifacts. So
is that in Morton Keenan's Fantastic Adventure only?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay,
I think
great.
It's only in that.
I didn't put that one in, so I gotta look at that. Nice, awesome.
And I believe Morton Keenan owns it, because in that module you play as it's set up as you play Morton Keenan and Big B and Urag. Yeah.
I never ran that. Could you run that as other PCs, I'm assuming, too, right?
Yeah, I've ran both of them. I ran Morton Keenan's and the Dungeon magazine, Mark Castle, which takes place 10 or 20 years later.
Always campaign planning. We're talking about Greyhawk. Always campaign planning.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
This is where always.
Yep.
Definitely. Great ones, Mike. Great ones. I know you got a lot that like I said, there's so many. I know I missed. And I completely missed those, and that's awesome because I didn't know about those. I have to look them
Well,
up
the
now.
Scorpion Crown is more like a cursed item, I would say. It's a Thurisdan created this crown, gave it to him. You know,
Right.
haha, fooled you. You know, your entire empire turns to a desert.
Right.
I don't know if there's much functionality. It's just a cursed item that you need to destroy to break a curse. Whereas the Silver Key of Portals, artifact-wise, it's debatable. I mean, I've seen it on artifact lists, and I don't know if there's any legends associated with it, but it seems to have like one use, lock. So whoop-de-doo.
It's still a cool item, and instead of having a chime of opening, making all those noises, opening doors, or not, or knock spell. So really cool. So what do you got, Jason?
Well, I mentioned this. I really liked the Rod of the Rod of 7 parts.
Yep.
But unfortunately, I mean, they came out with these 2 box sets at the same time: the Rod of 7 parts and the Return to Tomb of Horrors.
Yep.
And I've never really been a Tomb of Horrors fan because it's such a deadly module, and it just turned out I loved Return to Tomb of Horrors and hated the Rod of 7 parts. And yet the Rod has always been one of my favorite little, artifacts to come out with there.
Yeah.
And it's just a cool peace quest where you have to find part A and part B.
I had both those box sets, and I've never run either.
Yeah.
I have Rod of 7 parts box set, and I believe I remember being excited about reading it, went through it, and I'm like, never ran it.
Isn't that the way Dragon Mountain is too?
I ran Dragon Mountain, and that's a whole different story.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. Isn't that Half Dragons in there? Isn't that when it started with the Dragonborn and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Oh God, no.
Oh God, no. Would have liked to see.
Paizo did something good with the Rod of 7 parts, though, Jason, in Age of Worms.
Yeah, I've never read that.
Well, they used parts of it. The bookend of it is that one of the earliest adventures is written by Eric Mona. You go into a tomb of one of the Wind Dukes, and one of the Rod of 7 parts is in there. You find out later. So at the end of the adventure, in trying to defeat Caius, you're like, oh, we need one of the Rod's 7 parts for some reason. So you go back to that adventure and find it. It's kind of a nice little way of reusing a site.
Well, it's a nice item. I mean, it's you find 3 of the parts, they hook together, you can't get rid of it. You're now stuck on the quest. I really liked the Rod of 7 parts, but the way they presented it in that set just sucked.
When you try and take an idea and you try and expand it majorly, as Mike Celestion said, you have to commit, because that box set is going to take you, if you run it right, a year, meeting once a week. I mean, they're huge, and I can understand. Oh no, but you missed Sunday Night, Mal. Don't go there with the Doom Grinder.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do not. I related Doom Grinder to the planet Zeist from Highlander 2. That's how.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, now banished forever.
It's banished forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I also promised I would write something about it in the Earth Journal. So yeah. Go ahead.
Rod of 7 parts, though, is what interests me about that is it's iconic enough that a lot of people who are familiar with D&D have heard of it. And it has that kind of multi-part adventure appeal to it, like they're saying in chat. I wouldn't be half surprised if someday Wizards of the Coast, someone gets the wise idea to base their 5th edition storyline around the Rod of 7 parts.
Really?
They've used quite a bit of everything else from Greyhawk, and They're running out of stuff, and that's one thing that hasn't really been touched on.
They're running out of stuff.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of.
They are.
It's been 40 years, and they're kind of going back to the well all the time.
Yeah, I've done many posts about it there, and I keep track of that. What themes they use, and they're running out of themes. I think Vecna is probably another one they'll go to, but the Greyhawk well's getting dry.
How dry? You can't say that on screen. We have a term for that. We can't say it. So, Anna, you okay with one here? Before I got one to finish up with.
I was looking for one, but I can't find it because I actually have a copy of it, so to speak, in somewhere. But it's lost in all the books since I moved to California. But it's one that is irresistible. I think every DM worth his salt run games have used it at least once, and there's at least one player who screwed up immensely using it. And it's one that is for and I'm talking of the deck of many things.
Oh,
yeah, and it's one of these kind of, I don't know how much of a Greyhawk kind of tie in, but it's one of these that was back in the DM's guide, and they had a Dungeon or Dragon magazine that actually had a deck that you could take, and I had a copy of it somewhere. It's sitting in some plastic folder somewhere.
Now, time out here, Anna. I gotta jump in real quick.
Yeah.
Deck of Many Things as an artifact. The power set of it, definitely. But is it in the artifact section? No. Like, if you found a Deck of Many Things, could you just toss it in the fireplace destroyed?
Yes.
Or would it be hard to destroy like other items?
I think so. I think it's hard to destroy. I think otherwise, why would it?
I've never had anyone say, I'm going to destroy that deck.
Yeah. Because they get like, they get like, okay, yeah.
My players want nothing to do with them.
Okay. Wow.
Because they're so. I mean, the negative effects. You can ruin a campaign.
Oh, Asher says
it's terrible. Yeah, it's terrible, but it's
campaign.
but
so absolutely. I kind of like the tarot card reading in the original Ravenloft module myself a little bit less. Giving your fortune, and it had some effects on you. But that deck,
Oh yeah, that
you draw red, you're great. You draw black, you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
That was that. It was it 50-50. So.
Terry says Raulish has his Deck of Many Things. I did that once. Remember that epic campaign I always rail about?
Mm-hmm.
I gave him a Deck of Many Things one time, and I was a jerk enough to take all the good cards out of it. I did. I gave him a deck with only bad stuff.
That is hysterical.
Evil. Yeah,
because I knew they would draw a bunch of them.
Oh my god, that's so awesome.
That is viciously awesome. Yeah. Ooh, that is awesome. Yeah.
Wow.
I have a thing or two to learn about running campaigns still. That's for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is foul. That's just
awesome foul. That's vicious.
Genius. But it's like awful.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, that is so good.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I gotta remember that. Hopefully Tim's not on watching it, because it just he'll make us draw from it. So all right. I forget what that is that's up on the screen right now.
Yeah, but if you want to look, I have another one that I
go for
kind of,
okay.
Yeah, and that was one that was infamous. Now I'm going to kind of make an example of an artifact that I think should be an artifact, that is kind of hinted at, just like the Banner of Ulmor, without being an artifact. And someone brought up in chat earlier the Malakat throne, the throne in Rossi's, the Ivid Overkings, that is taken, chopped out of in the Isle of Lost Souls in the kind of devil rock, or the rock of the netherworld, taken there and done it. But there's another throne that is infamous in the Flannies too, and I'm talking about the throne of Ayus, that has been depicted and been talked about, that is made up of bones of paladins, and that he's slain and tortured to death, so to speak, and kind of made the throne. So it's a bony throne, and it's been, but it's not. I've never seen it written up and discussed as an artifact. But and now I'm going to spill a few kind of tidbits from my campaign. I've never had any players with their characters coming close to this thing. But I realized that I needed to, just in case back in the overpowering days that they actually got close, I actually studied out the chamber and the royal court of Ayus just to make sure that the players would never ever kill him. So they will definitely be vanquished, so to speak. So Ayus has one of his 2 bodyguards are 2 abyssal shadow dragons
Oh,
that are his bodyguards, so to speak, that are on guard that could be there. And the throne itself is an artifact, and it has some vicious abilities. One of the nasty ones is when you go in there, it's actually a kind of it plays with time. So IUs, when you're in there, what happens is that IUs can basically predict, you slow down time. So it's like a shimmering effect, and once you're inside it, you perceive time as normal, but it actually slows up and it stops for like 5 or 10 seconds or something, or a minute maybe. And that means that IUs will know what happens. So he can gate you to kingdom come if you do anything kind of remotely dangerous or something like that. So there's a whole bunch of things, so he can set and move the whole you and your whole shebang somewhere safe where he can deal with you if you cause trouble and stuff. So that one is an artifact that has a whole bunch of cool powers you can play with in your campaign. So that was one of the other artifacts that I kind of invented. I didn't spec out everything, but one of them was like a time dilution that gives IUs the time to react and make sure he's prepared whenever a spell goes off or something happens. So he kind of prevent whatever comes there. And you aware of it that you have to roll a bunch of saving throws. And you know if you failed, because then you know you're doomed, so to speak. So you get that feeling like, oh, I sold myself soul to whatever. So there's a whole bunch of these kind of cool effects that you, if you willingly step in there, that then you kind of, you have to roll saving throws and stuff, and if you fail, then you know you screwed up. So there is a whole bunch of these effects. So that's one of the artifacts that I kind of never used but introduced in my campaign.
Cool. So let me go over 2 real quick. The one that was what is that the picture of? That's the crystal of the ebon flame. It's the origin of this artifact is entirely unknown, but could be aliens. I just added that as its
Yeah.
exact whereabouts. It's
Yeah,
blue,
yeah.
yeah.
Not saying it's aliens, but
Yeah, I'm not saying it's aliens, but it could
Yeah.
be. When it's touched, the crystal sends forth rays of light, and a black flame seems to leap and dance in the heart of the jewel. So there you go. You can charm
That was
every.
Leslie the picture of it.
Yeah, yeah, it was the crystal of the ebon flame. Yep. Let
Oh.
me go back to it. That's the scepter mite right there. Let me go back to it real quick. Crystal of the ebon flame. I know I saw it here. So there we go. Right there. I think. All right, that's it. Crystal of the ebon flame.
Yeah,
Blue box. There you go. Very much, Blue Box. Thank you, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much for the gift sub there. The salute. The one I want to talk about more is in a dungeon magazine. I don't know if it's on level artifact, but it's demonic, and because it is a character in my campaign has it, and that is the following: Fiend's Embrace. Okay. Yeah. Almost there. Here we go. Fiends. Look, it's Grazit, your favorite Enigwolf on the cover.
Oh, awesome.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yes, and Fiend's Embrace is this, and this is a Wayne Reynolds drawing. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's Fiend's Embrace. It's and I have the write up on it here real quick. It is it's evil. It's definitely a chaotic evil item, and but I got a chaotic stupid character that has it, and that's okay. It's perfectly fine. So this dark red cloak. Let's see. It's so tainted with evil that bestows 1 negative level of any good creature attempting to wear it. So it has sentient intelligence from the pit fiend it was harvested from. So basically, it's pit fiend's skin, which is actually, when you think about it, it's a chaotic evil item, but it's harvested from a lawful evil devil, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess and they're fighting and
Yeah.
all, and it gives you major fire resistance, major intelligence resistance, and things like that. So our if you remember the fundraiser event that we had when we were in Altamira, the NPC Gilfinus Markham has this item. Swain's son, the stupid neutral guy. So he took it during an adventure we ran. When we ran that Fiends Embrace adventure, he said, it's not going to affect me. I'll utilize it. So he doesn't wear it out in public that much, but he'll wear it sometimes.
Yeah.
But there you go. So it's whether that's on the artifact level, I don't know. But it's one of those demonic items from Grazitz, which we have. Well, that's good. So Malden has a list of some more obscure artifacts in Sergeant Era works. So Malden can come on the next show we do with this stuff and talk about it with us. Don't you think it's a great idea?
Yeah.
I think that's a fantastic idea. Yes, here. We get everyone to vote for that. Definitely, and come up with. We'll have Gary and Malden on at the same time. How's that sound?
Yep.
We'll talk about, because we need to, it's 10:20. Let's go like another 10 minutes, and we'll do shout outs. We'll go. I'm done with mine, so let's do one more round for you three. Mike, give me another one.
Oh man,
Okay.
I'm running low.
That's okay, but you're not out. I know you're not out.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm really out of anything
Okay.
referenceable.
I got one for you guys.
Okay.
Go for it.
I can't believe nobody's brought this up, but the teeth of Dalvar Nar.
Yes.
Yeah,
they
don't know
are
anything about it.
they are so useful because there's so many of them.
Okay.
32.
Yeah, well, the thing is that you just, on its own, any individual one isn't overpowering, and they get more power the more you collect. So it does a couple things. It does the campaign where you can search out and you want to find more of these things. But it also lets you just have a special little magic item that you're kind of stuck with, because once you put them in, you can't get them out.
Till you're dead.
And you can fool with it, because they, like anything, it can have a positive and negative. And these are really DM's choice, because you're either pulling from the table or making it up.
Well, I was talking with Gary in chat while we were talking about something else about the teeth, and I've given out one tooth once, and that was to a character and a player I wasn't too fond of, and it was a negative effect when he put it in. It was one of the bad ones. Just like Mike with the deck. Yes.
It's a bit of a deck of many things there. So
yeah.
kind of effect.
So the Torch of Anaxander, we're going to save that, Gary, because I love that item, and it is a scalable. It's the first scalable item that I can think of that existed in anything. It scales up with Nastasia Ariani Nightstar, and I guarantee you we're going to do one on mercenary groups, published source mercenary groups in the future. We'll talk about that one then, because I love the Fellowship of the Torch, really do. Great point though on that one.
I don't know about scaling powers, but I do recall the Blades of Chorisk,
Yep.
which are maybe debatably artifacts, have resonating powers. They get more powers the more you have together.
Yeah, so do the teeth.
Yeah.
They're in here too. They're in the Dungeon Master's Guide as well. The Blades of Chorisk, I think, aren't they?
No, that's a sergeant thing.
Oh, it's a sergeant error. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What are we missing here? We miss Heward's Mystical Organ.
That one,
That's a big one. Yeah.
You mean in dimensions?
Physically big, yes.
Yeah. You got to play it though, don't you?
I think so.
Oh, look at this! Look, this is a Dungeon Master's Guide. You got to play "Fly Me to the Moon," that old black magic, that old Devil Moon. You got me in between Devil and the Deep Blue Sea, the Monster Mash. Oh my God! Wow. So
well, we're missing a few, like the Recorder of Yscind.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one, because most of these items are human centric. And here we have an item that I believe is elvish.
The recorder?
The recorder.
It says this all right, this most magical and instrument needs no musician to play upon. Doesn't say in the Dungeon Master's Guide. It could be. It doesn't.
I think the Ascend is a elven demigod.
Oh,
and this
really?
might have been a later development.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's one of the ones I've never utilized or blast up. The Iron Flask of Tourney is on here, and a picture of that as well. Yeah. So who wants to discuss that? Jason, you want to discuss that?
No.
You're not.
I don't know hardly anything about it.
Oh, I just went by it. Well, Tourney is your main nemesis in Return of the Eight. Very nasty. Yeah. Tourney the Merciless, and here is his Iron Flask, and Iron Flasks themselves are nasty magic items.
Is that item in the Return of the Eight, you say?
What's that?
I can't recall. I ran that adventure, and I can't recall.
No, Tourney himself's in it, but not
Tourney's
the Iron
in
Flask.
it, but it's the Iron Flask.
No, he's not. It just says it's an urn easily carried. The flask is stopped with a turnip-shaped plug, and Tourney's flask is rumored to imprison. It's all the stuff that you can find in a regular Iron Flask. It's generally conceded that the servant of the flask can be located, can be loosed only to perform evil deeds. So it has special powers above and beyond what a normal Iron Flask has. So basically, it's a souped-up Iron Flask. Because Iron Flask itself is a magic item that could hold a Nycademon or a groaning spirit or some things like that. So, it's nasty. What do we got here? Got a bunch of my artifacts webpage I've forgotten about. Bracers of Vecna.
That table of Zagig I wrote about on my blog recently.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a really good item.
Excellent. So here, Bolden will give you another shout out there to go to your site and check that out, especially. So we didn't even touch a lot, barely any of the ones in this or the 3rd edition Magic Item Compendium. So we can do a whole nother episode just alone on Greyhawk Adventures.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Which we probably should. But
we really didn't touch much on named items besides artifacts.
Exactly.
Are those artifacts?
They're not. I think I would say
just talking about named items.
Right. Okay. I'd say the Fire Wand of the Sulwees in here is. I say that's close to one. But I'd say most of them in here are powerful, unique named items. And some of them, there may be multiples of them as well. So, Iron Crown of the Bandit Kingdoms is in there.
I think Gary has an awesome one. My Infinite Map. You're backed by 100 pounds, so you would need 10 tables to unroll it.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of printer cartridges.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would ruin you forever. You curse your printer forever. Yep. I get it. Yep.
There's a lot of yes. A named item is, and I like giving out named items to give them a unique flavor. I like giving out a +1 sword with 3 special spell effects on it.
Yeah,
I like doing that. You're good.
Yeah, I've always wondered where these, the power to make a magic item seems to. You should be a little more oomph to it than just a plus here or plus there.
Yep, I agree. People like to have.
I like making bizarre little magic items like Biori's bountiful potato shovel, where the players, they can, every time they dig down, they can dig up a beautiful luscious potato, and it's a +1 weapon, but it's mostly done for digging up potatoes. So believe me, at low level that was rather popular.
Players would love that.
Players love Merlin spoons, and they're what are they? They make rule.
Utility items.
Yeah, exactly. A +1 tongue tool. They got that Saturday night, Asser. They got one. Owain the Paladin has the +1 tongue tool. Yes, they do. Is that an artifact? One only knows. So I notice I will not play. Tim, I will give Tim a rest on his things. The +4 back scratcher though, that's a +3 or +4. That's in the it's in the Dungeon Master's Guide.
Yes.
Yeah, that one's actually in there. So
it's either a big hand or a plus. +2 back scratcher. Yeah.
Good, Mike.
Maybe the items in Greyhawk Adventures, which are mostly named after like countries and stuff, are just too young to be artifacts. Maybe 500 years from now, when they're
good point,
if they're still around.
Yeah, so you mean artifacts is something that grows. They're not made artifacts right away. They kind of grow into it over
I think
use
it's
and
like the word artifact. They got to have some age to them.
That's an awesome idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, some of these things have unbelievable powers, like the Ring of the Pomars, which can summon an entire horde. I mean, that's pretty powerful. I mean, there's
you have some horns, and stuff.
Yeah,
It'd be a shame if someone like Turosh got a hold of that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we may find out Sunday night because we have a discussion about the Pomars coming at that point. So, anyone have any final thoughts on artifacts?
Yes.
Go for it.
Anyone who says a Greyhawk, World of Greyhawk is a low magic campaign, I just laugh at them.
I agree.
Because of this discussion.
Yeah.
Well, that's because Greyhawk is both high magic and medieval fantasy. So it's got the high magic, it just doesn't have it as a daily thing.
Gotcha.
It's,
you can have high magic can mean either you have lots of magic or you're very powerful magic. So the amount of magic and the power level are two different dimensions. So you can be kind of magic can be everywhere,
so we need to graph
but not
that.
but not particularly powerful, or it can be very rare and extremely powerful, or combination of.
So Casey says it's mid magic. That's funny. I think it's mid magic. So Casey just said, "Oh, what named items you're going to give us on the June 20th?" And I said, "Not after all the conspiracy theories you guys are throwing around." Oh my God! So, Jason, any final words on the artifacts? I mean, we covered a lot tonight, and I'm glad.
I think the best thing is just kind of define what we mean by artifact, and I think we've done that coming up between named items and artifacts. That there really is a difference there.
How about Anna? Anything on on artifacts?
I have one that we kind of you showed it on the picture, and that should be an artifact. I think if Orcus has a 1, then Grast has a sword. That is an artifact. Okay. So in my campaign, that sword is one hell of a sword, and it's a Warple beyond most Warple swords. So yeah.
So there are a ton of artifacts out there untouched, and I don't even want to tell you what I spent to get this book, but this is like it was a limited. The Necromancer Games Tome of Artifacts. I mean, I wouldn't even touch this. Oh yeah, this is awesome, man. Once again, anything made by Necromancer Games in the early 2000s is gold, right? Look at how thick. It is crock filled with artifacts, and I kind of used one when I did my Vespi Forest adventure a few months ago. That they found the one with you remember the crying nymph that was inside of it who had the attitude. And they actually kept it, so we'll see what happens there. But it was out of this book. And there's some really cool ones in here. If you can get this on PDF, reasonable on drive-through, I would check it out, guys. It's got some. If you want some unique items that are a little different, so I wanted to pop that up and just show everyone in closing. Jubilex's clone. That's funny, DM. That's hysterical. All right, so it's 10:30. We do shout outs and stuff. Will be almost to 11 o'clock. So why don't we, Jason? Why don't you start us off?
All right. Well, let's see. I'm trying to do a little more indexing, but my eyes aren't really good for it. But it's just every time I add something to that index, it just is so useful further down the road that I just love adding material to the index. I just indexed Dungeon 148 with Gary's Spine Castle in it and a couple of items that are probably artifacts. And there's just so much useful material still out there that I want to get listed down. Then I've got a Gazette I'm working on for Blackmore, Land of a Thousand Witches. And then because I've really liked the Spine Castle stuff from Gary, I'm doing developing certain areas of Spine Castle for my campaign.
Very cool, Jason. I know you probably cut off there at the end there.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're back.
You back off
good.
pretty
Yeah.
quick. And are you still playing? Are you on hiatus now because all the stuff?
I'm on hiatus. There's no way.
Weren't you?
That was
Do you want to talk
tabletop.
about what you were thinking about doing on Discord, though?
Oh well, yeah. I need to work out a time to run a Discord game. It'll be audio, and use the text channel for maps and stuff like that. But I've got to talk with a few people and then gather up players.
Beautiful. And just note, if you die in Jason's game, you're dead permanently. So scare you all off already. Jason doesn't like raised deads.
No raised dead, no resurrection, no wishes, no teleport.
No soup for you.
That's right.
Awesome. Anna, what's up?
Well, the work on the atlas is continuing, so I very soon will have the template, so I can start doing the pages, and I think I figured out how the page setup will be. So there will be a post to my patrons, probably in a day or two, and so we can kind of nail down the how this each spread, because there will be a map on each spread, so there will be most of the spreads will be done horizontally, and a few of them will probably be vertically, and it will probably be about 100 spreads, 95 something, and then of course I have a whole bunch of other ideas, but and there will also be a complete list of all the names on the map, so all the settlements will once be, for first time in history, be listed, and there will be an index at the end, and I have some other cool features I want to introduce onto it, so to speak. So this is more ambitious, and I will probably call it volume 1, because I already have ideas for a follow-up atlas after this one. So this one has kind of raised the bar a bit, and it's been fun. I've been studying various cool atlases and roadmaps and stuff like this one, and the Rand McNally Road Atlas, and a whole bunch of other various forms of atlases and stuff to get ideas. And I must say that these professionals have so many cool little features here and there, so I want to make kind of a fantasy version of them, so the atlas will have a whole bunch of new cool features, and there's still a whole bunch of features that are not really plausible for me to introduce this time. So this will be kind of a first work, kind of an initial atlas that will hopefully hold for like 4 or 5 years or something like that, while I can put together a kind of much better data platform to produce much quicker update atlas in the future. That will be the idea, because this is kind of tedious work, but we have to someone has to do it, so to speak. So I will get some help with the Excel part, and people can read it and put the maps in there. But I think it's going to be a useful tool, especially for all the new GMs and stuff who wants to get into and quickly find a place somewhere. That's one of the main thing. Meaning us old guards that have adventured in this place for decades, we know where to look for whatever Spine Castle or something. But if you just hear it here on a show or written in a blog somewhere, you might have to look a long time before you find the Spine Castle. Now you should be able to just go in the index and find it quickly. So that will be one of the benefits of this, and it can also be supposed to be printed in a beautiful 11 by 17 binder, spiral binder or something, but a bit over 100 pages in it. Yep. Okay, good. Yeah. So I've started set up a Discord, a special Discord room on my Discord server. That will be, it's linked on my Patreon page, and there will be linked too. So it will, and you're not required to be a patron to help me doing this. And that means that you will get the pages and stuff early. and I'm ever grateful. And you will have your name on the title page too. So the ones that have helped me on this will be mentioned in the special credits for this one too. So I
Cool.
think it will be a useful add-on in all the cool Greyhawk tools. And I've also found some more heraldry that I forgot to export from the map that people have pointed out. So if you go to the my heraldry folder, if you go to my website, annabmeyer.com, and look at the Greyhawk download section, there is a one post down on that list that is Greyhawk heraldry. And there you find a link to my Dropbox folder where I put all my heraldry. There's some new additions in there that you can download. The Iron Hills, Kingdom of Iron Hills was one of them that I forgot to. That was one of the first one I actually created. So I'm not overly fond of it. It's my design, but it's kind of, a lot of people have liked it, and there were several who asked me for it, and I realized, oh,
Just
it's not.
downloaded that last week.
Oh, okay, cool.
Nice.
Yep.
We have
So
a
there's a whole
surprise.
bunch of shields. And I have some other cool things in producing in the making, and that's one of the things that will be in the atlas. I will remove the heraldry from the map, and it will be in the information section, and we might do a heraldry appendix at the end or something like that to kind of showcase the heraldry a bit better. So yeah.
Or that next week.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Heraldry of Greyhawk next
Oh.
Wednesday, guys.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, so
Uh-oh.
that was
Yes,
the obvious. Yep.
We invited Brian Blumklotz to come on too.
Ooh.
Yep.
So yes, so there's one of the yep. So while Anna was talking about that, and wanted to pop out that's going to be one of the nice things we're going to talk about on next week.
I
So.
don't know, Gary.
How do you have a heraldry discussion? You can have discussions on almost anything, Gary. You're just not thinking outside the box.
Yep.
Yes, trust me. Brian will talk about how you can have a heraldry discussion, and we're going to talk about backgrounds and how heraldry is created and things like that. Plus, we're going to show a lot of the more obscure ones that people don't know about. All right, and that'll just absolutely.
Oh.
Plus, we're going to discuss those that need heraldry that we're going to make.
Missing points. Yeah, there's some missing points on the map that need
Yes,
heraldry. So,
like Highport. Does that have heraldry?
Yes, Highport.
What am I-
made. I created heraldry. for
Okay,
Highport.
you made one for
Yes.
Highport.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. I took one of the from the picture, Elmore's picture from the box set. That had some heraldry symbols on there that I actually so I kind of took those symbols and made them into heraldry along the Wild Coast.
See, we'll discuss heraldry. See, you just had a discussion. F that sable and white background there from Gary. So we'll discuss things.
Yep. Maybe if we kind of screwed up so badly, so Gary, you have to come on here and rectify us and put us back on the right path again. So
Melcott's on Anna's map, the Free City of Altamira, with its heraldries on Anna's map. So and it's up there right now. So and Mike likes it too. So there, I got street cred from Mike on that one. So as Sir DeBerry needs to unveil his prize, we would hope so by then. But it's a week from now, so we don't know. We're trying to line up some more Living Greyhawk guests. I haven't had luck with that yet. And remember, we did 2 in last month. So I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you, but you got anything?
No, please continue. Yeah.
Do any of my PCs create unique heraldry? That's a funny question, Gary. As of today, the answer is yes. So Anna and I had a little task we did today, and I want to save it for next week's discussion. So this is So we got some things coming up. Anna, can you link your Discord if you don't mind? Anna's gonna link it for you next week. So yes, we're gonna see some more heraldry coming out for Greyhawk from Brian, hopefully, Anna, and myself. I'm learning now that I finally know how, after 53 years of my life, to use Photoshop. I'm getting pretty good. I'm getting better with it. So you have a reason to come. I swear. I'm working on an evil NPC, Cat Neutral NPCs right now. Today was the first one I started on. So, anything else you got going on, Anna?
No, that's the main things that comes with the Greyhawk. I'm still working on and touching it at times on the climate model for Earth, but that's something that will I put that on hold for like a month or so to get the atlas up and running. So then when I get bored with just doing the same thing over and over and over and done in a few pages and spread maps, then I want to take a day off and do some Earth climate mapping and mapping. And there are a bunch of new cool tools coming out. So I have to write down a blog post about that is more cartographic to nature, because there are some really, really cool things coming out. So that's coming too. Yep.
Mike, what do you got?
Well, my most recent thing here is I finally posted the Great Kingdom War of Succession from my 2E campaign.
Oh, I love that one.
So there's a lot of narrative on this one, a lot of backstabbing, and I actually took time to map this one, the sequence of events in this war. Using one of Anna's spread maps and some of her heraldry.
Beautiful.
I made a map, and I'll tell you what, making the map probably took longer than doing the rest of the post.
Well, but photography, but that looks
it's
awesome.
worth it.
It looks fantastic. Yep.
Yeah. And I have a few more wars coming on after this one. I don't know if they're going to be as good as this one, but I'll try to have a map of some form.
Great.
For these things. Thanks, Gary.
Fantastic. I mean, it's great to go back and show all that stuff, that you did back in the 2E days, man.
It's fun going back and rereading the stuff I did back in the 2E days and trying to re-justify it in my head, like what the hell was we thinking back then, and trying to recreate it. Yeah.
A lot of people just we had fun with it and you went for it. I mean, before there was even any other publications out, I had a big war between Keelan and the Sea Princes. That was the thing that precipitated forming the Order of Yuluk. This is this is like 570. This is early on in the adventures, well before I even started logging adventures. And back then you didn't have much to go on. There wasn't much out there, and you had to run things. You had to come up with ideas. So it's cool, definitely awesome. Can't wait to see all that. All right, you ready for all this? I got a ton of stuff. Hopefully my voice holds up. I already showed next week. Tomorrow night we finally finish. On the Trail of the Flower. If you've seen the posts up on Facebook or of all the maze of Dwarven Forge I have up, yes, it's going to be difficult. They've been led right into a trap of some sort, trying to find this spy / bounty hunter, and we'll see how that goes tomorrow night. Reaper giveaway tomorrow night, guys. So I know Casey will come on and hit that exclamation point drawing within 10 seconds. Please feel free. Subs, you have a drawing for yourself. Just remember, you don't even need to be on subs, but if you want to watch or lurk, whatever, please do. So, like I said, guys, tonight looks like the numbers are low tonight. There's a mess up with Twitch. I
was wondering about that.
There's way more people than there is on Twitch. There's something going on Twitch. You get these weird Twitter updates that they're doing something. So my guess is we're in the 60 to 70 range. So don't worry about that. All right. So that's tomorrow night. No Saturday adventure this week or on Memorial Day weekend. So I did the 11 Greyhawk one. Sunday night, Joe Block is coming on the show. I think it'll be a good one, and we're gonna do the Pomar Forest and Yuluk border. So Joe's great dragon article,
nice,
is going to be discussed. Plus, we'll let Joe go with showing some more of the 5e material he's brought out in Greyhawk at some point too. We'll show all that. We only got to a couple of them when he was on Legends and Lore. Yeah, go ahead.
I gotta jump in.
Go ahead.
This is great because my next blog post on my series of 2E wars is the Selene Pomar's War.
Oh, beautiful!
Which is
Beautiful.
using a lot of that
A
info.
lot of that
you guys will be talking
information.
about.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then we'll go over. It'll be some campaign-based stuff too. So for you, see the Pomars and die. Absolutely.
167.
You will also. I'll go over some of the things, not in great detail, but what's going on in my campaign. Remember, there's 2 towers for the Order of York out in the Pomars, the Watchers Towers. We'll discuss that a little bit. Some campaign things, but having Joanne will be a blast. So. And that'll be on Thursday, on Sunday, and then next Wednesday we already showed. We go to heraldry. That'll be a good one. I can't wait because I'm starting to create my own, which I've wanted to do for years. All right, some announcements, big time announcements. The next Saturday night special, Tim's, the week after Memorial Day. That date is wrong. It's the 30th. I thought I switched it everywhere in the world, but it's not switched on there. It's the 30th, not the 23rd. All right, so that I have that, and then the 6th, I have the Blue Box, John and his channel, great channel coming up. I'm going to DM for them in a Saturday night special the week after, which is June 6th. And we're going to do that on the 6th of June, and then John starts his Greyhawk campaign the 9th of June, 3 days later on a Tuesday. And he starts it a little bit earlier. I looked at the schedule, and he'll be able to almost raid right into Will on Tuesday nights, which is perfect for what's going on with Will's Greyhawk campaign there as well. So that's perfect. And then June 20th is the next time I torture myself with the Living Greyhawk team. They want to all play. Only one cannot make it that date, so we're going to continue with cannon fodder that time. I'm going to call it the Adventures and the Conspiracies of Cannon Fodder, because yes, Anna's going to jump in.
I've been kind of
drafted.
Yeah, drafted.
Anna was drafted for Imri, her Ranger Mage, her 5/5 Ranger Mage in my game.
I was never been a Living Greyhawk participant, but I've kind of been honorary.
Yes, and we'll continue that. I think I'll go away from the mongrels because the conspiracies I'm getting in Discord would make your head explode. It's insane. What everyone's coming up with. The Order of Ulick is an evil organization, and they're allied with the mongrels. I mean, crazy stuff. I mean, what happened to you all in Living Greyhawk? I mean, was it really that? Like everyone was. I mean, everything was a
dynamite.
They rescued these 2 little children at the end, and they go, well, in Living Greyhawk, this would be a vampire or a doppelganger or a were creature, and I'm like, oh, dude, they're kids. I'm like, not everything is a conspiracy theory. So we're adopting. Yes.
When you follow this book,
yeah,
maybe it is a conspiracy.
Right. Speaking of that, I'm gonna gloat a little bit. I got I got number 1 and number 2 of Lloyd Metcalf's fanzines. Maximum HP number 1. It's reflecting a maximum HP number 2. I got them. The threes in print now. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. To gloat even more, I had a little visitor today who hand delivered personally these. I have the dun, dun, dun. So some of you may be getting an Earth Journal with J. Lord Gazumba Scott's signature on it soon, as I signed a bunch of them. Yes, Christoph drove up from the shore, and today we sat outside, 6 feet apart, of course, and just chatted for a couple hours, and I signed a bunch of them. And yes, well, they're going out. Yes, I got mine. I got 2 of mine. So you'll see them. I believe, Asher, I put a little notation on yours. Absolutely. All right. I had talked with Christoph and Anna and all of the group. And Josh, you're not going to like this. We are going with the virtual Greyhawk Con. For better or for worse, we're going with Greyhawk Con in the name of virtual Greyhawk Con at the first weekend in October. Okay. Hawked in Hawktober. Yep. And bad press is good press. So, if you understand that theory, any press is good press. So we're going to push it, and if they tell us cease and desist, then we'll worry about it at that point. But we're going to call it Virtual Greyhawk Con, and we're going to. Yeah, Josh, he says he'll lawyer up now. We're not going to worry about it because it's not for profit. And yes, we don't. Yeah, Gary, that's the attitude. We want to enjoy this, and we want to put the Greyhawk name out there. So once again, if you want to assist, please let us know. I'm working behind the scenes on another big name person that you all know in the community for him to stream Beyond Blue Box, and he'll either be streaming on my channel or his own coming up, and the time frame will be earlier in the day, so you can figure out where this person is if they're streaming earlier in the day. Okay, for us. So I'm working on that too. We got a lot going on, so hang in there, guys. Good things are coming. All right. Thanks. Thank you for a good show.
Thank you.
Thank you for the 50th. Thank you for all the new follows and subs and cheers and everything.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
We are we're crushing it this month, and like I said, don't worry about the numbers are all messed up. Who knows what? And I can't zoom. That was so weird, man. Just in and out, and it worked fine. Very crazy stuff.
Great.
So
we got a different server or something, and it worked.
Gary just asked a crazy question. Anna, can you answer that? Can everyone fit in my basement?
Oh yes, yeah. You have a basement of holding, so everybody.
During the fundraiser we just had, how many people I have in there at one point? Because Christoph showed up like 15.
Yeah, there were 15, 16 people.
Yeah,
that was even then you had half of the basement was not even used.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it runs the ladder entire length of the house.
You can put 50 people there, and it still works. Yeah.
Yes, it is a TARDIS. I wish it was a TARDIS. It's just Virtual Greyhawk Con is going to be coming. Hopefully by then my guys will be back. But we're gonna try and tie in a bunch of channels all into one big thing. I think it'll be awesome. So tabletop events is probably the way we're gonna go, guys. It's
tabletop event. Yeah.
$2. They didn't say crawl space. What the hell's a crawl space? I had a crawl space in the old house. No, it's a basement. It's not a crawl space. It's a full finished basement. So $2 I think it's going to cost to sign up for tabletop events. But I'm trying to work out a special on that too as well. All right. Working on figuring out the streaming thing. Well, a lot of people are. I will help you all. Casey, I know, is thinking about doing some stuff. Oh, tabletop events? No, that is VTT. That's just the sign up. That's just the sign up place to go to sign up so people can sign up for your game. We're going to use that just like Gary Con Virtual had. And it's VTT. It absolutely is. So, yep, absolutely. So, TT is event management, and I'm working on all that detail. So, guys, thank you. Yeah. I got it, man. Yeah. Contact me, not tonight, guys, but contact me over the weekend or whatever, and I'll try and help you out with streaming however I can. It's not that hard. You just gotta. I saw Phantom. Twitch is a bear to figure all the crap out in it and all the little things. It was 5 minutes before streaming tonight, and I said, Anna, I forgot to change the title.
Yep.
I would have been screwed because the title would have been wrong the entire show. So I mean, there's always something in Twitch, so don't worry about it.
Yep.
I told you it was going to be long, and that's cool, man. 11 o'clock, we're right there.
It was a kind of a Jubilee celebration, 50th episode. So,
absolutely. Yep. Tabletop Con, so Con of Champions is Labor Day weekend. I can't do it. It's my anniversary, and my wife would throw me out of the house. So, Mark, that's why I can't do it. But I know a lot of people. Hey, sign up for that and play in that one. Help tabletop events out on that. So I'll see you guys. We'll see you tomorrow night. Reaper giveaway. Did I hit the wrong button? What do you think? 50-50 shot. We're going to raid Stella Luna, okay? We're going to raid Stella, Geek Dice's daughter. We're going to raid her. All right? So let me set that up real quick.
I'm impressed with Gary's stamina in watching these shows, because back in the day on the IRC chats on Thursday, Gary would be on, and like within half an hour he'd go silent, like he fell asleep or something.
Really?
This is great. Yeah, we've had so many awesome viewers that have viewed from basically almost the first episode and every episode. It's fantastic. So thank you everyone who've been with us for all these 50 episodes or close to it, or even if you just been with us for a few. It's awesome. Yeah.
And Sunday night is 93 on Gavin, so we're 2 months away from a 100th Gavin episode.
Wow.
So yeah, we're getting close.
Something cool for that one too.
Because remember the 50th Gavin went 5 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
We
we
did
were
do
just
more
talking,
than-
all of us. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mike was on that, and Brian Blumkotz and Alan Growe. We just talked about we had general questions on. So
This one was like 3 hours or something like that. So it's not
this one was
Yeah.
3 full hours. I
Yeah.
don't know what I hit there. Starting to rate, guys. And by the way, I have a special rider in my basement, Gary. I have to. So I'm gonna go to this screen right now here as we head over there. It should be good to raid. All right, 31. Awesome. Here we go. Back to Twitch. Back to an account channel. Something's going on here. Oh, that was a weird start to things, wasn't it?